right. Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today? Thank you so much for being here and tuning in to the live stream. Good to see you, John Brewer. Thanks so much for that $3 super chat, my bro. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. What's going on, Nati? How you doing? He says this is official Cronge channel. What do you mean by that? I'm almost thinking maybe you mean cringe. Is this channel cringe? Maybe it can be at times, but we try to keep it, pretty neutral around here. But it's really good to see you guys. Thanks so much for being here on March 5th, 2026. And it's Thursday already. I can't believe tomorrow's already going to be Friday and we go back into the weekend. I feel like these weeks just go by so quick now. I can't believe we're already in March, about to be in April here very soon. So this year is just flying by. 2026 has been absolutely wild. So guys, thanks so much for being here. I appreciate you tuning in today. There's a lot to talk about in the Middle East. We do have a little bit of information coming out from Ukraine today and Russia, which we will talk about. Not too much details there, but for the most part, most of the information we have coming out today is regarding Iran. We're going to talk about Azerbaijan also, because Azerbaijan actually came under attack today. So that's what we'll start off with. Let's jump into our first report here. Iranian drones strike Azerbaijan, injuring 4 civilians. So this is definitely not good. A majority of the nations surrounding Iran have been attacked already. We just had reports, what was it, yesterday? And prior to the day before, Turkey was coming under attack by multiple missiles that were being fired. I think there was actually 2 that could have been confirmed to be attacking inside of Turkey. And one of their air bases there were reportedly being targeted. And what we heard is that at least one of these missiles were being shot down by U.S. forces that were located in the eastern Mediterranean. So pretty wild what we're seeing. I mean, are we going to see a regional war break out over here? It seems like Iran is trying to drag everybody into this. Yesterday, we weren't hearing too many reports of strikes onto some of the Gulf nations like the UAE, Qatar, and Bahrain, Kuwait. But towards the end of the night, there was actually a lot of attacks ongoing. We actually have a refinery, I believe, that got hit today in Bahrain. I'll show you guys that video footage later during the live stream. But yeah, thanks again so much for tuning in, guys. My voice, a little update on me. My voice is still a little bit weak. It's much better than it was yesterday if you guys were tuning in, but still slightly weak. So we're going to try our best to get through this. And I'm a little still congested right now from being sick, so I do apologize if I have to clear my throat every now and then when I'm talking. Still got a little bit of congestion going on. So, yeah, so much to talk about. Let's start out talking about this strike, though, in Azerbaijan. So, yeah, reportedly up to 4 drones striking a region of Azerbaijan located right on the border with Iran in Azerbaijani territory. This is going to be a photo coming out from a video that was actually released from a local that was recording a drone strike right into one of their international airports. And I'll show you guys on a map here in just a moment. And then on the right side of your screen, you can see some of these drones. These are apparently called Arash 2 drones. These are drones that I did not know the Iranians had, but apparently these are long-range drones that were being used. They were actually not Shahed drones. They were these types of drones you can see here. So let's talk about this. We're going to jump into some reports on X, and I have a map that I can show you guys as well. So let's start off with this map, and let's talk about what happened, like where exactly this took place at. So here's Iran right here, okay? We've got Azerbaijan up here. So Azerbaijan's kind of split between Armenia also, and they've got more territory here. This is kind of where it came under attack at. This is called the Nakhchivan region, okay? So we can see it's separated, I believe, between Armenian territory and Azerbaijan. It looks like a separate enclave here, okay? So if we zoom in, this is the border right here with Iran, and then we've got Azerbaijani territory, and this city of Nakhchivan came under attack, and I believe this airport, it should be this one right here, was actually hit by at least 1 Iranian drone. Excuse me. We do have video footage today. I'm not going to be able to show it, but I will post it in the chat for you guys. I believe it could be recorded by some sort of mainstream news outlet over there, so I'm not sure if I can show it here on YouTube, but I will post the link for you guys so you can check it out. So allegedly this airport did come under attack and was struck at least once, And then we also had reports of a school here nearby. I'm not sure exactly where, but somewhere here in the Nakhchivan region. It could be this city or another city nearby. School apparently taking some damage. Also, a drone struck very close to a school while kids were in session. So that is very dangerous. And we do have reports of 4 civilians that have been harmed in this attack today. So definitely not good. The Azerbaijani authorities and the president is actually warning that they're going to be taking action against the Iranians. So I'm not sure 100% if they are going to be, let's say, striking back at Iran. We'll have to wait and see what they plan to do. But their defense minister did come out saying that they were going to reserve the right to retaliate due to this attack. So this is very big developments coming out from over here, and we continue to see that this war is expanding and possibly turning into a regional war, which is very dangerous. And we'll also talk about why possibly Azerbaijan did come under attack if the Iranians did attack them. Azerbaijan is claiming that they were attacked by Iran, and the Iranian authorities are actually stating today that this was not done purposefully or really at all. They claim that they would never attack Azerbaijan. So not really sure what's going on here. We've got one side accusing Iran. The other side is saying, no, we did not attack you, Azerbaijan. So very interesting today. So let's hop on over to X now. We'll start here with Eli Afriat says, breaking for the first time, Iran also attacks Azerbaijan. An Iranian drone attacked the airport. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this link here, and I will post it in the chat. If you guys want to watch this video, you're more than welcome. There's a link to this exact post here if you guys want to watch it. But here's a little snapshot from the video. This was the drone. It actually came flying in right here and slammed directly into a target. I'm not sure exactly what it hit, but allegedly this is very close, or maybe at the airport there in Nakhchivan is what's being reported today. And again, multiple strikes. There was at least 4 different drones that struck inside of Azerbaijan, injuring 4 civilians today is what mainstream news was reporting. Now, Clash reports Azerbaijan, the moment an Iranian drone struck near a school, children's screams can be clearly heard. Yeah, so this video I will be able to show you guys. Apparently, we have another local here recording, and a drone slammed right near a school, as I mentioned earlier, and I want you guys to see the video footage. Very scary. Check this out. Wow, some very wild footage here. So we can see that drone coming in and slamming right next to the school, and right when it explodes, we can hear all these children start to scream. So very scary what is happening. We'll have to wait and see how the Azerbaijanis decide to respond to this, but based on some of their statements, it looks like they are going to retaliate in some sort of way. And something that I want to know is, whenever they go and obtain the fragments of these drones, if they can actually tie this back to Iran, that's how they can prove whether the Iranians were actually attacking them, especially if it was these Arash 2 drones. As far as I know, only the Iranians have these. So very crazy. Here's another one now. Breaking 911, Nakhchivan Airport in Azerbaijan has been attacked by an Iranian drone. This is the first time Azerbaijan has been attacked. So yeah, guys, I mean, first time Azerbaijan coming under attack, and I think some people were maybe expecting this at some point. Was Azerbaijan going to come under attack? As far as I know, Armenia has not been attacked as well, but we have heard some reports towards the beginning, before this operation began onto Iran, that possibly we could have had U.S. Special Forces being inserted into Azerbaijan and Armenia. There was reports of transport planes flowing into some of these nations. So could the Iranians be trying to retaliate for that event? Take a look at this video here as well.
Oyamdan geldi oyamdan. Ben de deyirəm
All right, in this video, we can see what looks like on the other side of this terminal. We can see a fire there that has broken out after allegedly an Iranian drone had slammed into the airport over here. So we did have some damage. I've got some photos I can show you guys. So this is pretty crazy. This international airport coming under attack. And this is something we've seen with the Iranians. They have attacked international airports. For example, I believe inside of Dubai or the UAE. We've had reports of attacks inside of Qatar as well. So the Iranians are targeting civilian infrastructure. So it would not surprise me if this was a true story. Now from next to Azerbaijan has closed its airspace near Iran for 12 hours. President of Azerbaijan, Aliyev, harshly criticized the actions of the Iranian authorities. Those dishonest people who carried out this terrorist act against us will regret it. Let them not test our strength. Aliyev also stated that earlier, Iran had requested assistance in evacuating Iranian diplomats from Lebanon, and Azerbaijan sent a plane for them. The president accused Iran of ingratitude, but in response to all of this, to strike Nakhchivan is in such a dirty, cowardly, and unmanly way. This stain will never be erased from their dirty and ugly faces. Yeah, so I think it was just yesterday as well that the president of Azerbaijan, Aliyev, right here in this video, he was actually visiting inside of, I believe it was Tehran or some other major city inside of Iran to meet with some of their authorities and, kind of give his gratitude and towards Ali Khamenei, who was taken out, their supreme leader. He was actually over there kind of, being there with the Iranian people to let them know and kind of give his regards for the loss of him, right? While he's there, a day later, that's when this strike is carried out onto Azerbaijan. Okay, and then also it mentions here that they sent an evacuation plane over to Lebanon to help some of the diplomats over there to be evacuated. As we know right now inside of Beirut, the Israelis are currently striking over there. So while they're carrying out all these actions of helping out the Iranians, we have this strike being carried out onto Azerbaijan. So clearly he's very unhappy with that. This was just a video of what he stated here. This is basically the whole statement that he made during that clip there. Now, Vice Grad 24 breaking, Azerbaijan has temporarily closed its airspace in the southern part of the country, along with the border with Iran. Okay, this is not good also. So if you notice here, many of these flights through the Middle East. So there's two major routes here. Some of them are going through Saudi Arabia down here and Oman, completely avoiding Iran, as obviously there's a conflict there right now, right? And then up here, this is another transit way for many of these planes is through Azerbaijan. So you can see here on the southern side of Azerbaijan, they've started to close their airspace. And it makes you wonder if the Iranians did this on purpose to try to shut down a major airway here, as obviously there's two major conflicts going on. There's Ukraine and Russia up here. Now there's Iran and the United States down here. So this could be also why the Iranians are trying to attack Azerbaijan to further disrupt air travel throughout the world. As we continue to see that Iran's trying to put pressure on the entire world right now, going after all these oil and gas facilities down here in Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all these different nations down here. Bahrain got bombed today. From what I understand, Kuwait as well has been attacked a lot recently. It's affecting the Strait of Hormuz over here and affecting oil flows coming out of the Persian Gulf. So you can see kind of what Iran might be trying to do here to put pressure on the whole world to potentially stop the U.S. from attacking them. So that could possibly be what is happening there. Now from AntaraNews.com, it says Iranian drone attacks Azerbaijan's Nakhchivan Autonomous Republic. 2 civilians were injured. Here's some new images coming out. Multiple sources were posting these pictures today showing the airport with damage. And as we can see, multiple of these panels on the ground. And this looks like where the drone had struck the runway. Looks like a gaping hole here. No drone fragments really reported, at least not yet. Haven't seen anything that could possibly be drone fragments or part of the runway here. But allegedly it was a drone that directly struck this international airport. Now, France 24, Azerbaijan's President Aliyev vows retaliation after terrorist drone strike blamed on Iran. Okay, so yeah, again, as I mentioned, they are threatening retaliation right now. Here's another photo coming out from this international airport in the Nakhchivan Republic of Azerbaijan, and we can see more fragments here on the ground from damage here to this international airport. So looks like it did get hit pretty hard with these drones. All right, now for Bliskovka, the armed forces of Azerbaijan are in the first stage of mobilization and must be ready for any operation, says Aliyev. We crushed the heads of those who wanted to test our forces with the iron fist. Today's incident will lead to the same result, he said. Okay, so yeah, we can see with statements like this, it seems like they are getting ready for some sort of retaliation onto Iran. And I have seen some other reports as well that were kind of indicating that the Azerbaijanis were going to stand down. So I'm not really sure if they're going to retaliate as of yet. But again, they are reserving the right to do so, is what their defense minister said today. So now we're going to jump into some other reports that are coming out from this war. There's just so much happening once again. I mean, it's every 5 minutes, new reports coming out all the time over there. But this is based on a report that happened yesterday. A current report says breaking Kurdish separatist groups publicly say they will not participate in an invasion of Iran, say there is no ground incursion as of now. So just before I got off yesterday, we started to hear reports that the Kurdish troops in some of the Kurdish regions of the Middle East. They pretty much live in like northwestern Iran. They're located inside of Iraq, Syria, I believe even parts of Turkey. There was reports that the U.S. administration was trying to contact the Kurdistan and try to get their troops to launch a ground invasion into Iran and kind of destabilize things on the ground. There was a lot of reports that came out yesterday that apparently they were launching a ground invasion into Iran at the time, but then hours later, it started to get reported directly out of their Democratic People's Party, I think is what it's called. Some of their members of their government in the Kurdistan region of northwestern Iran, they were claiming they were not actually attacking, they were not engaged in this war at all. So many of those reports got shot down. So it looks like as of this time, the Kurds are not involved in what's happening with the U.S. and Iran. Now, U.S. Central Command reports more fake news from the Iranian regime. The regime claims U.S. forces are withdrawing. They say they sank a U.S. destroyer. IRGC claims to have taken down a U.S. fighter aircraft. The regime says they killed 100 U.S. Marines. All lies is what U.S. Central Command says. Reality is U.S. forces are expanding strikes deeper into Iranian airspace by the hour. U.S. forces sank 20-plus Iranian regime vessels with overwhelming firepower from air, land, and sea. Over a 4-day period, U.S. forces have reduced Iranian regime drone launches by 73% and ballistic missile launches by 86%. U.S. military power projection capability is unmatched, and these are all facts, is what the U.S. Central Command is reporting. So this was coming out just yesterday. The Iranians have been claiming they've been destroying a lot of American military equipment, supposedly shot down an F-15. We'll go over a report that talks about that. Apparently that was not true, according to U.S. Central Command. So they're kind of just checking, a lot of things that are coming out from the Iranian side. And again, they are claiming that roughly about 73% of drone launches and also 86% of ballistic missile launches have been degraded on the Iranian side. But it's interesting because yesterday we didn't see too many reports of missile attacks or drone attacks, at least in the early morning when I was here for you guys yesterday. But towards the end of the night, going into today of today's morning on March 5th, we are starting to see a lot of ballistic missile and drone attacks onto multiple nations, especially the Gulf nations and Israel. All right, now from Ozen Defender, U.S. Senate just blocked the efforts of Democrats to force U.S. President Donald J. Trump to stop the operation of U.S. force against Iran. Vote was 47-53. Okay, so we talked about this yesterday as well, that the Senate would be voting on a resolution. I believe it was drawn up by the Democrats to block U.S. President Donald Trump from carrying out this attack onto Iran, and the Senate actually came out and blocked it. So the Republicans came together and said no, voted against it, and it will not be passed through Congress at this time. So there will be no stoppage of this war, at least being ordered through Congress. Now, Mossad commentary: massive explosion reported in Bandar Abbas. A huge column of smoke and fire has been seen rising from the naval area in Bandar Abbas, Iran. Bandar Abbas is home to major Iranian naval facilities near the Strait of Hormuz, making it one of the regime's most strategic military locations. Details are still emerging. So you can see this came out yesterday evening. A few of these reports that we will be going over starts from last night going into early this morning. But yeah, this was one of the first attacks taking place last night inside of Iran that was being reported in Bandar Abbas. So they've got a major naval facility down there that's, as far as I know, was already pretty much destroyed, and a lot of the Iranian Navy was destroyed there as well. This was a new strike that was being carried out last night, and a photo coming out showing a huge fire over there. And there's where it's located there, down on the southern side of Iran, right next to the Strait of Hormuz. All right, now from Channel 12 News, this is N12 from Israel. It says for the third time tonight, launches from Iran have been identified in the coming minutes. Alarms are expected in the center of the country. So this was again being reported last night. Lots of ballistic missiles being fired onto Israel, and I saw some videos coming out that were showing sometimes upwards of 20 to 40 interceptors going up into the skies trying to take down one Iranian drone. So that is absolutely wild what we're seeing in Israel. And there's been reports that at some point soon could Western partners and some of the Gulf nations start to run dry on interceptors. And what's going to happen at that point if they don't have air defense systems to defend themselves? I mean, shooting, 10, 15, 20 of these interceptors, Patriot missiles, whatever it might be, or using the THAAD system that we know Israel is currently deploying on ballistic missiles. What happens if they run out of interceptors? They're going to have a hard time taking down these Iranian ballistic missiles. So as we know that the Iranian missiles are starting to slow down in terms of their quantity, attacking Israel and many other Gulf nations, they're still coming in. I mean, there was pretty good launches here that were reported earlier this morning. So definitely not good to hear that Israel's using so many of these just to destroy one ballistic missile, as Iran potentially could still have hundreds of these. Now, insider paper breaking, Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney says he can't rule out military participation in the war. Yeah, this was a big report that came out yesterday evening as well, that Canada could possibly get involved in this war against Iran. So I'm not sure why Canada would be drawn into it, but that was what he stated yesterday. And we've kind of been seeing this from all parties here, even like France, Germany, the UK, they've threatened to get involved in this war as well. So, I mean, this could turn into a massive war in the Middle East. So far, not too many parties have gotten involved, especially the Gulf nations, even though they've been attacked. They still seem to be, for the most part, in a defensive posture. So it is good to see it's not spreading too crazy yet. But, with these strikes like on Azerbaijan today, could we see this war start to open up and become more regional? Now, World Source News breaking, several explosions reported in Tehran, Iran. Okay, this is going to be in the capital last night. Some major explosion. Here's a video of kind of what we're going to see here in these photos. But yeah, huge explosions reported in Tehran. I mean, it's just consistent attacks, especially at night. Massive bombing campaign still being carried out by the U.S. military. So just want to give you guys some updates here. I think just even in the last hour or two, there was more reports of explosions inside of Tehran. So the U.S. military is still keeping up the pressure onto their capital, going after IRGC facilities, underground bunkers, and even taking out like police stations. I heard some reports that there could have been somewhere around 30 to 40 police stations that were being struck across Iran just earlier today. And that's to prevent a lot of these protests from being quelled by the security forces, like their Basij forces that they use to deploy onto the streets and stop a lot of these protesters that are trying to overthrow the government right now. So the U.S. still carrying out massive attacks. Now, for most in technical, a tanker was hit by a large explosion in the northern Persian Gulf, causing an oil spill, British Maritime Security Agency UKMTO said Thursday. The oil tanker is taking on water. So this was being reported also last night. You can see here March 4th, 2026 for the date. Report time was 22:40, so really late in the evening. It says here UKMTO has received a report of an incident 30 nautical miles southeast of Mubarak al-Kabir in Kuwait. The master of a tanker at anchor reports witnessing and hearing a large explosion on the port side, then seeing a small craft leave the vicinity. There is oil in the water coming from a cargo tank, which could have some environmental impact. The vessel has taken on water. There are no fires reported, and the crew are safe and well. Authorities are investigating. Vessels are advised to transit with caution and report any suspicious activity to UKMTO. So apparently we had some sort of tanker or cargo ship that came under attack over here in the northern side of the Persian Gulf, right off the coast of Kuwait there. So I'm not sure if maybe it was trying to load up inside of Iraq. I did hear some reports that there was a tanker that was heading that direction to one of the ports in Iraq over here to load up on oil that could have been attacked. I'm not sure if that was the same one here, but interesting. This is way over here, far away from the Strait of Hormuz, and ships are still supposed to be able to get through here and transit and pick up their loads. It looks like it came under attack, and it says there was a boat that was apparently leaving the vicinity after there was an explosion onto a tanker or cargo vessel over here. So very dangerous. Still seeing reports of attacks on tankers located in the Persian Gulf. That was again last night. All right, now it was a Defender footage showing what appears to be an exo-atmospheric ballistic missile interception, likely by the U.S. Army THAAD or U.S. Navy SM-3, earlier over in northeastern Syria near the border with Turkey. Unconfirmed reports suggest that an Iranian ballistic missile was attempting to target in Kirlik, I think is how you pronounce that, airbase in what would be the second attack today against the territory of Turkey by Iran. Yeah, so last night, reports that another ballistic missile was being shot down, fired from Iran towards Turkey. So as far as I know, as of today, that is two confirmed ballistic missiles that could have been heading for Turkey that were shot down. In this case here, you can see an exo-atmospheric interception, most likely by a THAAD system by Israel. Yeah, very crazy to see, more missiles still targeting Turkey right now, and very scary because if Turkey gets involved, they are a NATO member and could enact NATO Article 5. So hopefully we don't see that happening, but it really seems like if the Iranians are doing this on purpose, they're really trying to draw as many people into the conflict as possible, as we're seeing so many different nations nearby that are being attacked. And as far as I know, Turkey has nothing to do with this conflict, so there'd be no reason why they'd be attacking into Turkey. Now, insider paper. New Iranian bombers Su-24 came within minutes of striking the largest military base housing U.S. troops in the Middle East before Qatari planes, including F-15s, shot them down in their first aerial combat mission. According to CNN, the Iranian jets were 2 minutes away from their targets. So several different Su-24 Iranian bombers were heading towards Qatar. Reportedly, this came out from CNN yesterday evening also. And apparently the Qatari Air Force shot them down before they were able to carry out whatever mission they were going to be doing here onto Qatar. So isn't that crazy? They were just 2 minutes away from attacking their targets, and Qatar allegedly had shot them down. So that is very insane news coming out from there, that they were able to get so close to Qatar before being taken out. Now, Mossad commentary, dozens of IRGC members may have been eliminated. Reports indicate a massive strike hit a local government building in Bukhan, Iran, where IRGC forces were stationed. Details are still emerging. Yes, this was video coming out from inside of Iran in the city of Bukhan. I'm not sure exactly where that's located, but allegedly this could be an IRGC camp here or building where some of their forces were being stationed in there. So there is video coming out here. Let's go ahead and check this out real quick. All right, so we can see pretty massive strikes being carried out here by the U.S. and possibly Israel last night, striking IRGC facilities. So as we can see, still massive attacks being carried out. And we have been hearing from the U.S. administration recently that they were going to be carrying out more extreme attacks onto Iran. We haven't really seen that yet. I mean, we've seen consistent aerial bombardments, but nothing too extreme just yet, aside from maybe the worst strikes we have seen is yesterday was B-2 bombers were striking inside of Tehran. And we have heard reports of B-52 bombers being used, but I haven't seen any confirmed video footage of that yet. Now, unusual Wales. Breaking: China's government has told the country's largest oil refineries to suspend exports of diesel and gasoline per Bloomberg. Yeah, Bloomberg was reporting this earlier today. So why would China be doing this? Obviously, they receive a lot of oil from the Iranians, and with the Strait of Hormuz being basically shut down right now, it's going to be affecting them big time. So they're starting to shut down or suspend exports of diesel and gasoline due to the ongoing situation in the Middle East. So it looks like China is being squeezed right now, and they're trying to get ahead of the curve here as oil flows are going to be shut down going over to China right now. So something that I talked about yesterday, you guys can let me know what you think in the chat. Do you think that maybe the U.S. carrying out this operation onto Iran is strategic not only for Iran, but also to put pressure onto China, maybe to slow them down? We've been hearing a lot of reports that the Chinese are deploying, like, even I think they're strategic, might be strategic or tactical nuclear weapons over there. There's like 20 of them being set up on certain facilities over there. The Chinese have obviously been preparing for war with Taiwan as well. So, not sure if it has anything to do with that, but it was something that I brought up with you guys yesterday. So, you can let me know what you think about that. If you think that this has anything to do with China, or is it strictly just to do with Iran with their whole nuclear program and trying to destroy their nuclear capabilities and whatnot? There's a lot of speculation as to if this has anything to do with China, and I think there could be a possibility there. But regardless, we know that China's government is very concerned right now with the shutdown of these cheap crude oil supplies coming out of Iran. Now, U.S. Central Command, the effort to eliminate the Iranian regime's mobile missile launch capabilities continues. We are finding and destroying these threats with lethal precision. So check this out, new unclassified footage from CENTCOM showing a lot of these ballistic missile launchers being destroyed. And you can see here, a lot of these are disguised as like cargo trucks. And the Iranians do this on purpose, so that way the U.S. cannot determine whether they are actual ballistic missile launchers. But as we can see, a lot of these are. Look at that one cooking off right there as it got hit. We can see a lot of secondary explosions there as well. So what was being reported, I think, by Israel earlier this morning is somewhere around 300 or so ballistic missile launchers have been destroyed. I'm not sure if that's just from the Israeli side or if that's including U.S. strikes as well. But 300 ballistic missile launchers, I mean, that's quite a bit being destroyed. I don't know how many the Iranians have, but it looks like the U.S. and Israel are trying to do their very best to destroy a lot of these ballistic missile launchers, because if they don't have the launchers, they obviously cannot fire these ballistic missiles. So, new video coming out today there. Now, Mossad commentary, U.S. strike on IRGC Navy corvette. Footage shows a U.S. aircraft striking the Iranian IRGC Navy's Soleimani class corvette Iris Shahid Sayyad Shirazi. During the strike, at least one Ghadir anti-ship missile reportedly cooked off, launching out of the vessel's amidships launcher. The corvette is part of the IRGC's Navy's missile fleet, operating in the Gulf. So here's video coming out also from a CENTCOM allegedly showing here this Soleimani class corvette that came under attack. So I think it was yesterday, Pete Hegseth, the U.S. Secretary of War, he stated that they had struck this thing the day before. So 2 days ago, they attacked it. Now this new video is coming out showing this, and this is one of their ships that they're very prideful about as well, in kind of like a celebration, or what's the word that I'm thinking of? They basically created this ship to represent, or what's the word? I can't think of the word that I'm thinking of. But they basically built this ship for Soleimani. If you guys know him, the RGC commander that was taken out back in 2019. There's a word that I'm thinking of, but I cannot think of it at this time. But yeah, they destroyed this ship, and Pete Hegseth came out yesterday and was actually kind of making fun of the Iranians, saying, we took out Soleimani twice. We took him out in 2019, and now he's been hit again with this class corvette being struck. So pretty insane video coming out there. Okay, so now moving on to Monitor X, the U.S. Central Command CENTCOM has asked the Pentagon to send more military intelligence officers to its headquarters to support operations against Iran for at least 100 days. The source was Politico today. Okay, so this is a big report also, because this is something that I've talked about with you guys a little bit yesterday as well, is, how long is this war going to continue over here? The U.S. administration was claiming it was going to be somewhere around 4 to 5 weeks. Some people think that it could be longer than that. Some people think that it's going to be shorter than that. But apparently, according to this article as well, I saw some other reports that were stating that the U.S. CENTCOM forces could be preparing to be fighting over here all the way until September. So what is that, like another 6 months from now or something? So who knows what's really going to happen? I mean, you guys can let me know what you think in the chat, but it seems like this war could be continuing for some time. And as of right now, I mean, we are seeing that the Iranians' capabilities to strike back are starting to decrease, but they are definitely not stopping. Okay, it's not stopping completely. Again, there are a lot of attacks being reported onto Gulf nations over the last 24 hours. Even Israel coming under attack by ballistic missiles. I mean, there were several waves that were fired last night, as we mentioned earlier. So clearly, the Iranians' capabilities are not completely depleted yet, although the U.S. administration is claiming that they are completely crushing the Iranian regime right now. I think that was a statement from the press secretary from the White House, Caroline Levitt. She mentioned that yesterday in a press briefing. So finally, one last update here from Mario Naval. It says breaking U.S. F-15E Strike Eagle reportedly crashed during a mission over southwestern Iran early Wednesday. At least one source attributes the crash to Iranian air defenses as reported by Scent Defender. Both the pilot and weapons systems officer ejected safely over Iranian territory. U.S. and Israeli combat search and rescue teams launched from a neighboring country, entered Iran roughly an hour later, located both crew members, and extracted them without incident. Both were transported to Prince Sultan Air Base in Saudi Arabia with minor injuries and are reportedly in good condition. A rescue mission deep inside enemy airspace in the middle of the largest aerial campaign since Iraq pulled off in under 2 hours. The story is not officially confirmed yet, but if true, the rescue is remarkable. So earlier I gave you guys a report from U.S. Central Command. They were kind of fact checking some of the reports coming out from Iran. Iran was claiming that they shot down a U.S. fighter jet and potentially could have been connected to this story here, a U.S. F-15E Strike Eagle that may have been shot down over Iran. U.S. Central Command did claim that that was not true. They fact checked that and said it was not shot down. So you guys can let me know what you think as well on that. But was it shot down? Was it not? We don't really know, but U.S. Central Command is claiming that that was not the case. And, you know, with all these constant aerial bombardments inside of Iran, and Iran does have air defense systems, I'm sure a lot of them are destroyed, but could they have scored a strike onto one of these F-15s? Now, what's interesting is just about 2 days ago, we had reports over Kuwait that apparently we had 3 different F-15s that were being shot down, and many of the pilots were actually ejecting out of them. As far as I know, they all survived and they were okay. But it was being later reported by mainstream news that 3 of those F-15s were actually shot down by a Kuwaiti fighter jet. Okay, so isn't that very interesting that these F-15s are constantly being reported as being shot down? So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. But by the way, guys, we're going to go over some more reports here. That's pretty much it for this set here. I'm going to go ahead and pull open some more updates for you guys. I can only pull open so many tabs at once or else it'll pretty much overload my computer. So we're going to go ahead and pull up some other details here. In the meantime, I hope you guys are all having a great day today. And thank you so much for tuning in. If you guys are enjoying the live streams too, you know, let me know down in the comments on the video, or you guys can chat and let me know, you know, anything that I can do to improve as well. If there's something that we can work on to improve the streams. Let me see here. We're going to pull open some more reports that were coming out today, actually. So let me just get some of this set up here. If you guys can give me just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, let me know how your day is going. And yeah, if anybody's here, if you could just give me a quick thumbs up in the chat too, just to make sure we are still alive, that I'm not sitting here talking for 30 minutes by myself. Would appreciate that, but thank you guys very much. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for being here. And I hope you're having a wonderful Thursday. We're going to be going into Friday tomorrow, so kind of excited for the weekend, actually. And number one thing I'm most excited for is that I'm not sick anymore. At least not as much. I'm still getting a little bit of the after effects here, but at least it's not too bad. For the most part, we are good. So, okay, one moment. Pulling open some more posts here for you guys. Oh, Jay Fitzgerelli, what's up, man? Good to see you. Okay, 1316. Oh, thanks so much, bro. I appreciate that, Jay Fitzgerelli. Thank you for the $9.99 again, bro. Big ups. Thank you. Oh, you got a cold too, John? Yeah, it's a bad time right now, bro. It's just I feel like some of it has to do with the change of the seasons. You know, whenever we go from winter going slowly into spring. I mean, at least where I'm at, weather is changing. I don't know about you guys, but it's definitely warmed up, and this happens a lot. Whenever we go from cold to hot, hot to cold, like I immediately get sick every time. It's crazy. That's okay, Jay Fitzarelli. Appreciate you being here. Don't worry about being late, man. It's okay. Thank you. Portugal offered use of Azores base to U.S. I believe. Did they really? I heard that Spain did a 180. Did you guys hear about that? They did a 180. They were coming out a few days, what was like last week or something like that, towards the start of the war when this all began. They were actually telling the U.S. that they could not use their bases. The U.S. Military couldn't use their air bases, right? And then Trump came out like a day later while he was speaking to who was it? Friedrich Merz, the German chancellor. And while he was speaking to him, he told him that they were going to be cutting off all trade with Spain. And then, like 24 hours later, Spain's like, okay, never mind, you can use our bases again, I think is what was being reported. Thought that was kind of funny. Okay, just one second, guys. Let me see here. Um, just trying to get this set up for you guys so I can show you some more posts here. But yeah, in the meantime, chat amongst yourselves and just give me one moment. I just got to comb through these before we show these to you guys, because some of these do have videos too. I got to make sure it's videos that I can show here on YouTube, because some of them I can't. I can, some of them I cannot. So just give me just one moment. Just kind of going through these, making sure the information is fresh as well. All right. Let's see. Yeah, but in the meantime, for you, John, if you're sick, man, what I recommend is take Theraflu. That one really helps me out a lot. Theraflu is good. Emergency is good. That one's been helping me. Also, obviously, if you lose your voice like I did, it's going to be really hard to, kind of get it back. You kind of just have to wait. You don't really have a choice, but those help. And then I've also been drinking like hot tea with honey and lemon, like chamomile tea. That really helps. Also, if you're having like a sore throat, that really helps out a lot. Just a minute, guys. Almost ready, okay? Let's see. That's the word I was thinking of earlier, was paying tribute. I could not think of that word when I was talking about Azerbaijan's president. He was paying tribute to Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader who was taken out, and we'll talk about that. I'll pull that up first. I could not think of that word. Okay. Almost there. Just a moment. Oh yeah, we also have reports of a F-35 that scored a kill on an Iranian Yak 130 aircraft. That was yesterday, and there's new video coming out in that. I'll show that to you guys here in just a moment. Okay, just about ready. Almost there, guys. Thanks for your patience. Got a couple more of these to comb through. Okay, we're ready. Thanks for your patience again, guys. Let's jump into it. Okay. So I've got another group of news here. A lot of this information is coming out today. So we'll start here. Noel reports the irony yesterday. Aliyev attended Iran's embassy to pay his tribute for Khamenei, claiming Azerbaijan does not want to get involved in the conflict. Today, Iran launched drone attacks in Azerbaijan. So here was a photo of him paying tribute to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, while at the same time, just 24 hours later, we've got the Iranians attacking into Azerbaijan. So isn't that interesting? Now, was this like an isolated incident where maybe just some of Iran's IRGC randomly decided to try to drag Azerbaijan into the conflict, or is this coming out from a direction of the IRGC or maybe their government? maybe giving some sort of order. Don't really know, but I thought it was interesting that Azerbaijan has actually been showing a lot of, sympathy for the Iranian people and actually helping them out, sending that aircraft over to help evacuate some of their personnel from Beirut as well under the constant bombardment by Israel. Yet at the same time, that's how they respond. So isn't that very interesting? Now, next, Iran swears it did not launch drones towards Azerbaijan. Iran's deputy foreign minister, Gari Babadi, said that Iran did not carry out strikes against Azerbaijan. Iran's policy is to strike only the military bases of its enemies, including the United States and the Zionist regime. The official was quoted as saying by Tasnim. So this could possibly be a photo of the wreckage here inside of Azerbaijan, showing one of these drones that crashed into their territory. So again, guys, very interesting. But Iran, yeah, coming out saying we had nothing to do with this. There's no reason to attack Azerbaijan. We would only go after the U.S. and their assets. Yet at the same time, aren't we seeing the Iranians attacking? For example, the Gulf nations, they're not just going after U.S. air bases. They're going after international airports. They're striking hotels, lots of residential buildings, critical civilian infrastructure still being targeted. So it wouldn't surprise me if Iran did that on purpose. So now for Max 25, Trump administration has reached out to the Kurdish leaders in Iran and Iraq asking for support in efforts to weaken Iran's government. This was according to the Washington Post today. Trump reportedly offered U.S. air cover and other backing if Iranian Kurdish groups attempt to take control of parts of western Iran. U.S. officials are exploring alliances with Iran's domestic opposition as the conflict with Tehran escalates and as Washington considers deeper military involvement. Yeah, so it seems to me like Trump is trying to figure out how to get boots on the ground inside of Iran without having to deploy U.S. troops. But that is something that the U.S. administration stated that they would not rule out putting boots on the ground. There have been reports that maybe, for example, special forces could go on the ground to some of these nuclear sites. If maybe they can't destroy them from the air, they might have to insert special operation forces onto the ground to destroy them personally by hand. So could that be a possibility? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we did hear again. I reported to you guys earlier at the start of the live stream that the Kurdish people are claiming that they have nothing to do with any kind of an invasion into Iran right now. They are denying any information or reports that claim that the Kurdish people have gotten involved in the conflict. And there was reports also yesterday that the U.S. has been funneling weapons into Kurdistan, which are indigenous population of people that live inside of Iran, Syria, also Iraq, I think even parts of Turkey, funneling weapons to these people to try to start some sort of uprising or invasion into Iran. So apparently so far, none of that is true. We'll have to wait and see, but still lots to talk about that at this time. So now for open source intel, south of Sanandaj, western Iran, site of Imam Ali Barracks, an IRGC and Iranian army military complex. Israel and the U.S. are making sure not one Islamic military base is left when this is done. So I don't think I'll be able to show this video here. I'm not sure if this comes out for mainstream news or not. Sometimes on some of these rooftops, there's actual reporters that are here in some of these cities recording this. So this is just like a screenshot of this video here showing some massive attacks here onto this mountainside in the city of, how do you pronounce it again? I think it's Sanandaj, okay, western Iran. We've been seeing a lot of strikes there, but what I will do is I will link this for you guys in the chat. If you want to go ahead and watch it yourself, you're more than welcome to, but unfortunately, I may not be able to show that here on YouTube. So there's that for you if you want to check that out. So more massive strikes being reported. You can see this was 3:07 a.m. my time, that's Pacific Standard Time in the United States, on March 5th, 2026. So just earlier today in Iran, huge strikes that are being reported on an Iranian army military complex. Now check this one out too. War Translated, Financial Times reports that the United States and at least one Persian Gulf country are negotiating the purchase of Ukrainian interceptor drones to counter Iran. One Ukrainian official also noted that interest in Ukrainian interceptors is growing rapidly due to their relatively low cost. Okay, so I remember somebody reporting this yesterday, actually, this similar story, and somebody mentioned, who has the cards now? So it's kind of funny because, if you guys remember what was it last year? I think it was like middle of last year or back towards the springtime when Volodymyr Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, went to go meet with U.S. President Donald Trump at the White House, and they basically got into a huge argument. And there was at one point Trump was telling Zelensky, you don't hold any cards. We hold all the cards. We're going to stop this war in Ukraine and whatnot. And obviously, the war's still going. Trump hasn't ended that war like he said he would, at least during the time frame. Uh, and now, supposedly, the U.S. is reaching out to Ukraine and trying to get help, especially with the Persian Gulf countries. They're trying to negotiate purchase of Ukrainian interceptor drones, like what we see here. This is going to be a Sting drone. So Ukraine's got a bunch of different versions of these, and these things are very cheap to counter Russian drones. Okay, so apparently, what we've been hearing as well, that Ukraine is setting up like AI data centers across Ukraine also to utilize these drones and pretty much use swarms of them at a time using artificial intelligence, which makes them much more effective at destroying Russian drones. And recently, in other reports that we've done coming out from Ukraine, they've been taking out a lot of Russian drones with these. So they're becoming very effective and cost effective at the same time. So it looks like the U.S. could be possibly trying to reach out to Ukraine as well to help out some of the Persian Gulf countries that are coming under constant attack by these drones, as it's much cheaper to utilize something like this compared to some other air defense missiles as well. So that's very big news regarding Ukraine. They're becoming very important to many nations around the world. Now, Mossad commentary: overnight strikes in Tehran. The IDF says a wave of Israeli airstrikes in Tehran overnight destroyed multiple Iranian missile storage and launch sites. According to the military, an underground facility used to store ballistic missiles was destroyed. Several air defense missile storage sites were struck. Multiple ballistic missile launchers were targeted. During the operation, Israeli Air Force fighter jets identified Iranian soldiers operating an air defense system and struck both the launcher and the personnel. IDF says the strike prevented launches against Israeli aircraft during the mission. Okay, so more reported strikes here. There's a couple of videos, and I'll link these in the chat as well. One of them, I believe, shows Iranian soldiers getting taken out. So I'll link this down below for you guys as well if you want to check this one out. But just more reported strikes here by the IDF onto IRGC targets and taken out. Yeah, again, here it talks about underground facility used to store ballistic missiles, several air defense missile storage sites, and multiple ballistic missile launchers being targeted and destroyed, which we had video coming out from U.S. CENTCOM forces as well. Now, Faytuk's network, Russian Foreign Ministry, says Russia isn't providing Iran with weapons because they haven't asked us for help. Our position on the matter is clear. So if you guys remember, before this conflict broke out, before the U.S. decided to attack them, there was lots of reports of Russian and Chinese transport planes going into Tehran. Now, some people were claiming that maybe these were transfer of like air defense systems. So maybe the Iranians were receiving like, book air defense systems, trying to defend their skies if they were to come under attack. There's also a lot of reports that the Chinese were sending air defense systems over to Iran as well. And look at how much that's really helped them out, okay? I heard some reports that the Chinese systems were not very effective either. So imagine how humiliated Xi Jinping is right now if they did deploy a bunch of those over there, and the U.S. is basically just destroying everything. We've seen in the recent past also when the U.S. went into Venezuela and struck air defense systems over there. Some of those were Russian, and they were just basically wiped out very quickly by Tomahawk cruise missiles, I believe. So far, we're seeing, any help coming from the Russians doesn't really do a whole lot to stop the U.S. military. But yeah, this is going to be Sergei Lavrov here. He stated that they have not helped out Iran at all because they haven't asked for their help. So interesting that they claim they're not really helping them. But again, we did have reports of lots of transport planes going into Iran before the start of the attack. Now, it was in technical footage of an Israeli Air Force F-35I shooting down an Iranian Yak-130 over Tehran yesterday, scoring the F-35's first manned air-to-air shoot-down. Yeah, it's crazy. The U.S. military has been... let me pause that for a second. Sorry, guys. U.S. military has been scoring some big hits here. Obviously, this Yak-130 being taken out, and then also... we had that report yesterday that Iranian frigate that was attacked off the coast of Sri Lanka And that was reportedly destroyed by a U.S. submarine firing a torpedo. And that's the first time a torpedo has been used to destroy a naval vessel since World War II. So, isn't that pretty wild? The U.S. military is getting lots of action over here, lots of practice for modern warfare here as well. And this is something that Ukrainians get a lot right now. They're getting obviously tons of practice fighting up against the Russians, which is why so many nations are reaching out to Ukraine for support for their own militaries as well. So pretty wild that U.S. F-35 or Israeli Air Force, excuse me, F-35 had shot down an Iranian Yak-130. So pretty wild footage there coming out today. Now, open source intel says Iran International reports at least 8 members of Iran's Assembly of Experts will boycott today's emergency meeting, protesting what they say is heavy pressure from the IRGC to select Mojtaba Khamenei as supreme leader. Okay, so very interesting with this whole report here. So I believe it was just yesterday or the day before. I think it was the day before, 2 days ago. We had reports of an assembly of experts building inside the city of Qom. I think is how you pronounce it. It's Qom. I might be saying that wrong. I believe that's kind of like in somewhat central Iran. The Israeli Air Force bombed a building that could have potentially had upwards of somewhere around 80 or so members of Iran's Assembly of Experts, basically anybody left remaining from their parliament, and they were trying to vote on a successor to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was wiped out just a few days ago, Iran's supreme leader. So now apparently some of these members of the Iran's Assembly of Experts are no longer wanting to meet today's emergency meeting. I wonder if it has anything to do with that last building getting bombed. Maybe they're afraid they're going to get hit again, so they don't want to show up. But apparently the IRGC is really putting pressure on these people to select Mojtaba Khamenei as the supreme leader. And if you don't know who this is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is Khamenei's son. Okay, it's been talked about widely over the last few days that he could possibly be taking over as supreme leader. So something else that the Israelis have stated is that anybody that it is taking over as supreme leader will immediately be targeted by the Israeli Air Force. All right, now special Curse and Cat photograph obtained by the Sun shows a 30-foot hole in the side of a hangar at RAF Akrotiri, if I'm saying that's right, in Cyprus, following a recent Iranian kamikaze drone strike. The damaged hangar houses U.S. U-2 reconnaissance aircraft stationed at the British Air Base. Okay, so we've been talking about this as well. This British Air Base has come under attack by multiple drones that could have been fired from Iran, but most reports were indicating these drones were actually coming from Hezbollah in Lebanon. And regardless, that's basically Iran doing it, right? It's their proxy groups, and they're getting these weapons being funded through Iran. So Hezbollah supposedly attacking this base over here, located in Cyprus in the eastern Mediterranean. And reportedly, this is going to be a photo of one of the hangars that took a direct hit from one of these drones. So what's dangerous about this is, could it drag the UK into this conflict at some point? I think it definitely could. The UK has come out and said that they reserve the right to respond if they need to. If they're going to get involved, they might have to. And if these strikes keep happening onto this base, especially if some service members are wounded or maybe killed at this base. If these attacks continue, it could definitely draw them into the conflict. And once again, as we talk about this becoming a regional war, it really seems like we're on the verge of more nations getting involved. Now, for next, Trump's military operation in Iran could last until autumn, says Politico. So we talked about this earlier. I had a brief report that was discussing this. So Politico is also claiming that this war could last until autumn. Like, can you imagine that? Till like September, October, something like that. Trump has come out and said it would take 4 to 5 weeks, but we've heard this before. We've heard him say, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, and 2 weeks turns into 6 months or a year or never. So it's really hard to tell what's going to happen over here. In my opinion, I think it's going to be several more weeks for sure before we even start to hear whether, let's say, the Iranians are going to start to give in and give up or something like that. I think it'll probably be several more weeks until we get to the point where we're hearing that basically Iran is almost incapable of firing any kind of drones or missiles at, let's say, the Persian Gulf nations or towards the U.S. or anything like that. Once we stop hearing of these attacks, that's probably when around the time that we'll start to hear that maybe the RGC is giving up or something like that. But so far, they've stated they will fight till the bitter end they're not afraid to keep this going for a long time. So, is this going to turn into another Afghanistan? I hope not, but you guys can let me know what you think down in the comments. Some people think it's going to take a long time before this ends. Others think that it could end very quickly, but we'll have to wait and see. Now, Mario Naval, this is how the strike on Khamenei reportedly went down. Israel made it to look like the military was shutting down for Sabbath dinner. Photos showed generals leaving the HQ, that's the headquarters, then they quietly returned later in disguise. Meanwhile, Israel had already hacked Tehran's camera network and tracked Khamenei's bodyguards for years. When the moment came, they jammed nearby phone towers so no warnings could get through and launched Blue Sparrow missiles, that kind that go to space and come back down, almost impossible to intercept. Khamenei, his wife, family members, and Ahmadinejad, not sure if I'm saying that right, were all killed that Saturday morning. Years of planning, minutes to execute. Source was Daily Mail. So, yeah, what we're hearing behind this operation, I mean, it's crazy. Like Israel, every time they carry out some sort of operation, taking somebody out, a major leader or anything, it's always very sophisticated. If you guys remember, was it last year? It could have been 2023 as well, or 2024, excuse me, a year prior to last year, where we had reports that there was those major bombings inside of Lebanon, where Israel was using pagers that were supposedly purchased from, I think, like Taiwan or something like that, some other Southeast Asian country. And these pagers were given over to Hezbollah. And they were actually tampered with, and they had explosives with timers or something like that in them, remote detonated devices. And they were given to all these Hezbollah operatives. And then all of a sudden, Israel started detonating a lot of those. I remember covering that. I believe that was in 2024. Israel just has really extreme ways of carrying out strikes onto people. And in this case here, it claims that they were watching Khamenei for years, hacking their camera networks and their traffic cameras, watching his movements, where he was going to be. They made sure he was going to be in the bunker at the time while they struck it. And they basically launched a cyber attack, knocking down all their communications. So that way, Khamenei could not be warned that the strike was coming. They used these Blue Sparrow missiles and making him nearly impossible to intercept, and striking him, taking out his wife, family members, and I'm not sure who this is right here, Ahmadinejad. Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's the name right there. They were all killed on Saturday morning at the start of this operation. So that is very wild news. Apparently that's how it all went down there. Now, Ozen Technical, Iranian Navy's home port of Bandar Abbas is ablaze this morning with pillars of smoke rising from the facility after a series of U.S. strikes. So we talked about Bandar Abbas. Apparently this is a new video coming out here. I'm not going to play the video because I'm not sure where the source comes from, but you can see here a lot of smoke coming from Bandar Abbas, major naval base that we reported earlier that came under attack. This was another video from a different angle showing this huge strikes here. So it looks like at least 4 different pillars of smoke right there, and the U.S. carrying out some massive attacks onto Bandar Abbas earlier today. Now for more Monitor, Iran is repeatedly trying to contact the U.S. to restart peace talks, and he says it's a bit late for that. Yeah, there has been reports that Iran is actually trying to contact the U.S. right now and saying, hey, we're ready for peace. We're ready to restart peace talks again. But yeah, I have to agree with that. I think it is a bit late for that. I don't think the U.S. is going to be willing to engage in any peace talks right now. I mean, this operation is already ongoing. I don't see the U.S. turning their back now and walking back to negotiations, but I guess we will have to see. But it is being reported today from numerous sources that Iran is trying to contact the U.S. to restart peace. Here's a statement now from investing.com. Iranian Deputy Foreign Minister, Iran is ready to abandon its nuclear program on condition that the United States presents a satisfactory alternative offer. So we heard that already from the Iranians. They came out saying that. So apparently this is their Deputy Foreign Minister stating that they are going to be willing to abandon their nuclear program if the U.S. presents them a satisfactory alternative offer. I'm not sure what that's going to be. I mean, the U.S. has been very clear. No nuclear weapons for Iran. They're not allowed to have any at all. They don't want them to have their nuclear program, period. They also want them to basically deplete their entire ballistic missile stockpile for the most part, to limit the range on their ballistic missiles, stop giving support to proxy groups in the Middle East. And Iran basically declined to do any of that towards the start of this operation. So I don't see the U.S. Trying to negotiate with them. I think the U.S. is going to keep pounding them until they submit and basically either give in to the United States and surrender, or they'll basically just be completely destroyed, is what I think is going to happen. So there's some more crazy information. A lot of that was coming out today. So let me see if I got anything else for you guys. I think we do have a few reports out of Ukraine today as well. Maybe we can do some reports on Ukraine here just for a moment. So give me a second. Let me pull up what I have for Ukraine, and then we'll talk about that. So let me see what I got here. I do have some things on Ukraine today. There's not a whole lot. Again, a lot of the information coming out from Ukraine is very limited right now due to the ongoing operation in Iran. But there is some details that have broke through today. So we'll kind of go over the few things that I do have. So give me just 1 minute here. Again, thanks so much for your patience, guys. Thanks for being here. Thank you for supporting the channel. So we'll talk a little bit about Viktor Orban too. We talked yesterday. We talked about the Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico. They were reportedly going to be cutting off diesel supplies over to Ukraine. I think energy as well, in response to the Druzhba oil pipeline being shut down. They're currently not receiving any oil through Ukraine right now, so that's some big developments. So I've got a few things here to go over regarding Ukraine. It's not really much. I do apologize, but unfortunately, that's the way it is. You know, whenever there's a lot of conflict happening in the Middle East, it's really hard to get details coming out from Ukraine because no one's really covering it. But here's one from War Translated. Ukrainian Navy confirmed the destruction of a Russian Ka-27 helicopter over the Black Sea. So apparently their naval forces could have shot down an enemy Ka-27 here. Okay, so this could be a naval helicopter that's used by the Russian forces, and down in the Black Sea could have been shot down. So that was being reported today. That's pretty big news. Another huge hit to the Russian military. Now, military news UA. Reuters reports Ukrainian F-16 fighters were left without missiles to repel Russian air attacks for a month. An acute shortage of American AIM-9 Sidewinder air-to-air missiles lasted more than 3 weeks, from late November to mid-December. During this period, Allies did not deliver a single missile, and the Ukrainian Air Force was left with only a few Sidewinders for the entire F-16 squadron. Reuters was unable to establish the reason for the delay in deliveries. In December, supplies resumed and the shortage was eliminated. This happened just before the start of the largest Russian air attacks. Okay, so if you remember recently, also, we had the Ukrainians stating just about maybe a month ago, I want to say that they were running short on like air defense interceptors for like Patriot batteries and whatnot. And literally 1 day before these strikes were being carried out, they had just received a batch of interceptors for many of their air defense systems. So we've constantly heard that the Ukrainians are running dry on air defense systems. So apparently, even these Sidewinders, I believe these are them right here on these F-16s, and these are used to shoot down drones a lot over Ukraine. So reportedly, they were running dry on these back in November to December, and soon after they were able to receive some of these, but at some point they were basically running out. I'm not sure if that's due to funding or what's going on, but it really seems like there's a lot of gaps in supplies for Ukraine. And this is definitely not good. I mean, obviously, if Ukraine does not have the ability to defend themselves, they're just going to get smashed by these aerial targets that Russia's firing at them. They're always firing ballistic missiles and drones. And something interesting that I thought about as well, ever since we heard about this attack onto Iran, we haven't really heard anything about Russia launching massive attacks onto Ukraine, you know, with ballistic missiles and whatnot. It seems very quiet over there. There's not a whole lot of information. I would think that if that were to be the case and Ukraine came under attack, it would be reported at least by mainstream news. And there hasn't been any talk really coming out from Ukraine. It's very quiet over there right now in terms of information. So now next, Zelensky stated that European aid to Ukraine is being blocked by one person, and that person is Orban. I hope that one individual in the European Union, Viktor Orban, won't block our 90 billion euro tranche. Otherwise, we will give his number to representatives of our armed forces. Let them call him and speak to him in their language, said the president of Ukraine. So Zelensky, very concerned about Viktor Orban blocking the 90 billion euro aid package for Ukraine. We talked about this over a month ago, that the EU had approved 90 billion in loans for Ukraine. And Viktor Orban wants to block it right now due to the whole Druzhba oil pipeline situation. And if you guys aren't familiar behind that story, for those of you just barely tuning in, this happened, I want to say about a month or 2 months ago. It wasn't that long ago, where the Russians apparently carried out a strike onto the western side of Ukraine and struck critical oil pumping stations or some sort of infrastructure connected to the Druzhba oil pipeline, which is a huge pipeline that flows from Russia down through Ukraine, even through Belarus, on over to Eastern European countries. And also, this pipeline that goes through Ukraine goes over to Slovakia and Hungary. All right, so now that the Druzhba pipeline is shut down, that means no oil flows for Hungary or Slovakia. So both of them are very upset at Ukraine right now. They've been asking Ukraine, why are you not repairing the Druzhba pipeline? There's been a lot of pressure, apparently, even from EU partners to push Ukraine to repair it. And I'm not really sure if Ukraine is just doing this on purpose. It kind of seems like they are, like they're purposely not repairing it, to maybe put pressure onto Viktor Orban and also Robert Fico in Slovakia to maybe stop purchasing oil from Russia, which is obviously supporting the war effort against Ukraine. So definitely a lot of tensions breaking out between Hungary and Ukraine right now. Here's another update from Nexta. Orban threatens Ukraine. Hungary will use force. If Ukraine does not resume oil transit, Hungary will use force to unblock Druzhba. There will be no agreements, no compromises. We will break the Ukrainian oil blockade. Excuse me, my voice is breaking a little bit. Oil blockade by force. Hungary's oil will soon flow again through the pipeline, said the Prime Minister of Hungary. Poor Orban can't win elections without this Russian oil, Zelensky sarcastically commented. So yeah, there's apparently something from Viktor Orban today. So he's stating that they will use force to basically remove this blockade on this oil coming out from the Druzhba oil pipeline. So that's pretty wild coming out today. Let me get some water real quick. So yeah, what does he mean by force here? Or does that mean that their military is going to go into Ukraine and resolve this situation? Are we going to see an attack on Ukraine? I don't know what's really going to happen here. You guys can let me know what you think behind this statement, but he's saying that they can possibly use force to push Ukraine to open up this blockade on this oil flowing to their nation. So obviously, it's really hurting them right now, and we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen with that. Now, Anton Gerashenko, President Zelensky says in 3 days, Middle Eastern countries have fired 800 missiles for Patriot systems, a number Ukraine has never even had. So that was, yeah, a statement from Zelensky today. So 800 missiles for Patriot systems. Isn't that wild, guys? I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I saw some video coming out from Israel that showed somewhere between 20 and 40 interceptors being fired for one Iranian ballistic missile that was incoming. So, we do know that there's multiple missiles that usually get fired from Iran onto Israel at a given time. So maybe they were trying to intercept others. But yeah, some reports I saw, they were firing dozens of them just to try to take out one ballistic missile. So, I'm pretty sure by now this war is becoming very costly and something to think about. Are you guys concerned about that, on how much money the U.S. military is spending right now inside of Iran? I mean, imagine all these interceptors, they're not cheap. And then all the bombs being dropped onto Iran. This has got to be racking up billions of dollars at some point of costs here just to fight inside of Iran, especially if this war lasts for a very long time. I think we're going to see a lot of spending here. And this is all at a time where the U.S. Economy is not very strong right now. I've been hearing that there's lots of job losses going on. The stock market is kind of up and down daily. We have nearly $39 trillion in U.S. debt. So, I mean, this is a really horrible time to be spending all this money on this war. And, some people feel controversy behind it. Some people are for the war. Some people are not. But let me know what you think. I mean, 800 missiles for Patriot systems. Ukraine's claiming they didn't even receive that, probably even in total. I'm sure they get a much smaller amount of that while they're constantly under attack by Russia. So, pretty wild information. So that's really what I got from Ukraine today. Let me see if I've got anything else regarding the Middle East. I might have some more updates here, so just give me 1 second. But again, thanks so much for being here, guys. We've been live for about an hour and 20 minutes, so we'll be here for a little bit longer. Let me see if I got more updates, and then we'll check out what's coming out right now as well here in just a little bit. So give me just a minute here. But again, let me know how your day is going, guys. Hope you're doing well today on Thursday. Let me know what are you guys planning for the weekend? Anybody doing anything fun? Not sure what I'm going to do yet. But I'm going to try to do something this weekend. Get out and enjoy some sunshine. It's starting to warm up over here a little bit where I'm at, so that's always good. Hopefully it's warming up where you guys are at too. It should be. All right, trying to pull open some more reports here, see what else we got. Okay, yeah, still got a lot of stuff here that we can go over. Just one moment, guys. Thanks for your patience. So yeah, we'll kind of jump back to Iran right now. I'll give you guys some more updates on what's going on over here because there's so much. I feel like I could be here for probably 6-8 hours at a time, and then by the time we finish all that information, there's another 6 hours of information. Oh, you're gonna be fishing in Missouri, Jay Fitzarelli? Cool, man. You know, I haven't fished in a long time, basically since I was a kid, but it's actually one of my favorite things to do. I really like it. And I've actually been wanting to do that more often. But where I'm at right now in Nevada, there's not a whole lot of fishing around here. And the fishing that I like to be in the forest. I don't like to be in the desert. You know, in the desert, you're just sitting there on the sand, on the dirt, on the side of a, you know, a watering hole, basically. And it's just not, the ambiance is not there for me. I more enjoy, like where you're at in Missouri, I'm sure it's a lot more, you know, woodland and green. And that's actually something that I'm looking forward to right now. I'm actually planning, hopefully, it might be moving at some point soon, but I'm not 100% yet. We might be moving to Washington, and that's mainly the reason why we're trying to get out of the desert and get to like a colder environment because it gets pretty hot over here. So yeah, let me go over some more things here, see what else I've got for you guys. Okay, let me see. I've got some more updates on some other stories we were talking about earlier, so just give me one moment. All right. Let's see what we got. Probably about 2 more minutes, and then I should be ready to show you guys some more updates here. Yeah, I look forward to getting out and fishing as well once I move to some more like a woodland environment. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Okay, I've got some updates on Saudi Arabia here in just a minute as well. We'll talk about Saudi Arabia because they've been coming under attack also. Let's see. Almost ready, guys. Thanks again for your patience. Okay, and I will have a few more videos that I can show you guys also. I'm not sure if we'll be able to watch them completely, but I can show you guys snapshots of them, and I'll post the link in the chat. So we'll go over some of these videos that are coming out. Almost ready. Okay, I've got a critical update on Azerbaijan, so we're going to go over that right now. We'll go over that real quick before we jump into some of these other ones. Okay, so here we go. Thanks again, guys. Okay, so Chris O. Wiki, and it says, for those wondering why Iran might strike Azerbaijan, take a look at this image. Let me pause this here real quick. Take a look at this image from 3 days ago showing how air traffic to Asia has been rerouted from Iranian to Azerbaijani airspace, a corridor only 170 miles or 270 kilometers wide. Most Asia-bound aircraft no longer overfly Russia, and the Gulf route via Iraq is obviously too risky right now. So if you see here, just north of Iran, this is really the only route that many of these aircraft can take. Aside from going south of Iran down here through Saudi Arabia, if these aircraft are up here near Russia, they have to pretty much go through Azerbaijan right now due to the conflict. So imagine if Azerbaijan was drawn into this war, that would shut off this major airway here through Azerbaijan and would greatly affect aircraft that are flying throughout the world. They'd have to start going for different routes. This will cause more mayhem within the airline industries, rise in prices as well, affecting the global economy. So you can kind of see what Iran would be trying to do here. We kind of mentioned this earlier, but this is a good image showing that of what would happen here if this major shipping lane, or not shipping lane, but plane route would, how much it would affect it if it were to be shut down. So definitely not good. Hopefully Azerbaijan does not get drawn in. Now, Dr. Eli David, breaking IRGC's Kermanshah deep underground ballistic missile base completely destroyed. This was being announced today. Just early this morning at 12 a.m. my time. So apparently one of their major ballistic missile bases were completely wiped out. You can see here February 21st, 2026, March 4th, 2026. Okay, we can see all these different holes here in the ground. These are probably even bunker busters that were dropped. So we can see a lot of these buildings too completely gone and wiped out, completely destroying this ballistic missile base. So another huge hit here by the U.S. military, possibly Israelis as well. New information coming out. So a lot of their missile sites being destroyed. These were images also that were indicating huge strikes here on this hillside, most likely onto that missile base. Now, Channel 12 News out of Israel, report of smoke rising in northern Riyadh, Saudi Arabia's capital, apparently following an Iranian attack. So I have not been able to confirm this yet, but this is Channel 12 News Israel stating that earlier today, I can see here 5:21 a.m. March 5th. So that was just earlier this morning that we had reports of an Iranian attack onto Riyadh again. And in Riyadh, we have the Prince Sultan Air Base nearby there, which is used by U.S. forces. And then also we had reports of a major oil refinery that was struck there just a couple days ago and could have been attacked again. We'll have to wait and see, but it looks like Saudi Arabia was coming under attack once again. Then also from Insider Paper, Saudi Arabia is diverting millions of barrels of its crude oil to a port on its Red Sea coast, helping the world's top exporter to maintain supply to global markets, Bloomberg reports. I'm sure this really helped out the markets a lot because markets were probably very concerned about the rise in oil prices and the fact that Saudi Arabia is diverting a lot of their barrels of crude, no longer going to the Persian Gulf, but now heading over to the Red Sea. This will probably help out a lot with the global supply markets, and maybe we won't see oil spiking as hard. But then obviously, what if the Houthis down in Yemen start to blockade the Red Sea once again? If that happens, then we might have some major problems, and the Houthis have done that in the past. And so far, we haven't really seen the Houthis getting involved in this fight yet. They're located down in Yemen, close to the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, which is not too far away, where allegedly we have also off the coast of Oman a U.S. aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln. So we'll have to keep an eye on this region as well. We could see the Houthis trying to blockade the Red Sea. Now, open source intel just in. Italy, Spain, France, and the Netherlands will deploy naval assets to protect Cyprus in the coming days, Italy's defense minister told Parliament. Okay, so this is big news too. So Italy, Spain, France, Netherlands, all getting involved, deploying naval assets to Cyprus in the Mediterranean Sea and the eastern side close to Israel. And this is to defend some of these air bases over there that keep coming under attack. So looks like multiple European nations are getting involved now in this conflict to help shoot down these drones that could possibly be fired from Hezbollah, the Iranian-backed group in Lebanon, or maybe even from Iran itself, as there has been a lot of reports of Cyprus coming under attack. Now, Marian Afal says, breaking, Iran just used an unmanned surface vessel for the first time in this war, Footage shows an unmanned boat hitting an oil tanker off Kuwait's coast. This is apparently an image coming out from this tanker that we reported earlier to you guys that came under attack near Kuwait and Iraq and the northern side of the Persian Gulf. And allegedly, this is a photo showing a huge hole here on the side of the ship, right near its hull on the bottom side, due to an unmanned surface vessel, most likely a naval drone that attacked this ship and blew up here on the side of it, causing major damage. As far as we know, the ship is not sinking, but it did cause a huge hole there, as we can see. So the Iranians are attacking ships down there in the Persian Gulf right now. Now, Faytuk's network, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte says the missile incident in Turkey was serious but does not trigger Article 5, adding the situation shows NATO remains vigilant. Okay, so no Article 5 will be invoked right now with NATO coming under attack inside of Turkey 2 times apparently reported last night, but apparently they are remaining vigilant and ready to enact Article 5 if need be. Now, next to breaking, one of the leaders of the Kataib Hezbollah group has been eliminated in Iraq. The man killed was Abu Hassan al-Freji, considered one of the group's key field commanders. Kataib Hezbollah is regarded as one of the most radical pro-Iranian militias and was actively involved in attacks on U.S. facilities in Iraq and Syria between 2023 and 2025. Okay, so Kataib Hezbollah, we haven't talked about them in a while. This is an Iranian-backed group inside of Iraq. So apparently one of their leaders of this group has been taken out. Now, it doesn't mention here whether it was Israel or the U.S. that did this, but we have been hearing that Israel is going after some of their proxy groups located inside of numerous nations in the Middle East. So looks like it could have been Israel that carried out strikes onto Kataib Hezbollah. And these groups have attacked U.S. bases in the Middle East in the past, so it's possible it could have been a U.S. airstrike as well. Now, current report breaking, Iran has struck the Al-Udeid air base in Qatar, the largest U.S. military base in the Middle East. Missile and drone attacks are still ongoing. So this was reported earlier this morning, 1:28 a.m. March 5th. So I'm not going to play this video because I'm not sure where the source comes from, but again, I'll link this for you guys in the chat right now. But as we can see smoke here, most likely coming from a U.S. base located inside of Qatar, the Al-Udeid. We've talked about this before, so let me link this for you guys in the chat. You guys can go and check that out if you want to watch the full video there. But yeah, allegedly we had Al-Udeid coming under attack once again earlier today inside of Qatar. Now, Megatron Ron breaking, Japanese oil refineries at risk of facing severe crude shortages amid the supply constraints due to the Middle East war, have asked the government to release oil from national reserves. Okay, so we're really starting to see this Strait of Hormuz basically being shut down. It might not be formally shut down by the IRGC Navy, but all these attacks onto these ships down there is really concerning a lot of boats that are trying to traverse through the Strait of Hormuz. And we heard as of yesterday, supplies or the ships going through there have been shut down about 90%. So I'm not sure if that's still the same today. It could possibly be just as bad. But we are starting to see a lot of these Southeast Asian countries are very concerned about these oil flows being cut off. So China's warning about this right now. We had South Korean stocks just 2 days ago collapsing due to the threats of oil flows being cut off. And then now even Japanese oil refineries, are facing severe crude shortages due to this also. So it's really affecting a lot of these nations over here near Asia. Now, Channel 12, the Prime Minister of Lebanon has ordered the outlawing of Revolutionary Guards. Okay, so inside of Lebanon, we have had reports that apparently the Prime Minister is ordering Revolutionary Guards to get out of the country, outlawing them. Hezbollah is also being outlawed as well. They want them completely dismantled and gone. I'm not sure if the Lebanese government has the ability to completely remove Hezbollah, but they do want Hezbollah out of the country. So the actual government of Lebanon does not want war with Israel. They know that if they do, Beirut is basically to be turned into what Gaza looks like today. So it seems like the actual government in Lebanon does not want to have anything to do with this war. So they are trying to put pressure onto Revolutionary Guards from Iran and also Hezbollah to stop a lot of these attacks into Israel that's been reported over the last few days, which is forcing Israel to respond with airstrikes inside of Beirut. And there was also reports yesterday that there could be a ground invasion in southern Lebanon also by Israeli troops. Now, open source intel says Israel's home front command has eased restrictions. Work is allowed and gatherings of up to 50 people are permitted if a protected space is nearby. Apparently, Israelis believe the Islamic regime threat has dwindled. Now, this is big news right here. So, if we're wondering, is this war coming to an end soon? The fact that the Israelis are basically easing restrictions on their population, allowing people to go outside now, hold gatherings up to 50 people as long as there's a protected space nearby. This tells me that they're not so concerned about these ballistic missile attacks anymore. They've either got it under control, they can take down a lot of these threats. If not, they're not too concerned about many of these missiles attacking their nation anymore, which could possibly prove that maybe the Iranians are basically being degraded to the point where they can't really attack Israel so much no more. So that could be very big news regarding this war here. Now, investing.com, South Korea has liquefied natural gas reserves for only 9 days, says a lawmaker. So as we were talking about Japan, concerned about crude oil flows being cut off for their nation, South Korea is claiming they've only got 9 days left of liquefied natural gas reserves. And this comes after, in Qatar, just a few days ago, we had Iranian strikes onto a major liquefied natural gas company and caused severe damage, forcing that company to shut down. This is one of the largest producers of liquefied natural gas in the entire Middle East. Due to that destruction, I think it's going to take them roughly about 2 to 4 weeks before they can get completely back online. So what are nations like South Korea going to do if they can't get liquefied natural gas from Qatar? This is what's making things very dangerous down here with this war. It's definitely affecting commodity markets for many different nations, primarily in Asia. Now, Naval reports U.S. military transport aircraft were spotted at very low altitude in the deserts of Najaf, Iraq. Yesterday, there were rumors that U.S. Special Forces landed and got into clashes with Iraqi government forces. So I won't be able to play this video either. I'm not sure if this is mainstream news covering this story here with this video clip. But U.S. military transport planes spotted. Look how low they're flying here to the ground, possibly to evade air defense systems. This was inside of Iraq. And we did have reports yesterday, just before I got out of here. It was somewhere around 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time when this was reported, that inside of Iraq there was a massive power outage throughout the entire nation, and there was also reports that U.S. Special Forces may have been inserted on the ground close to the border with Iran. Now, I'm not sure if that was completely confirmed yet, but there was reports that the U.S. military engaged with Iraqi soldiers, and there was like a shootout of some sort. So not sure if maybe this is some of these planes that were involved in this operation, but this is another video that I will copy the link and cite it for you guys here in the chat if you want to take a look at that. Very interesting development there. So still kind of monitoring what's happening inside of Iraq. Not a whole lot of movement there in terms of U.S. military action or anything on the border with Iran. Now, Vicegrad 24, U.S. continues to strike the Iranian Air Force. Several planes were destroyed in recent strikes. So many videos coming out showing strikes onto the IRGC. Here's a new video showing warplanes for the IRGC that were being destroyed by U.S. Central Command forces. So pretty wild. Multiple jets we can see here being struck. There's one inside of a hangar. No problem there being destroyed. And multiple others sitting out in the open just being wiped out. Pretty insane footage coming out today from U.S. Central Command. Now, Slava, at least 4 banks in the UAE are either not operating at all or experiencing very serious disruptions. First, Abu Dhabi Bank, known as FAB, Abu Dhabi Commercial Bank, ADCB, Emirates NBD, and Emirates Islamic. The reason cited is an Iranian drone strike on infrastructure and a fire in an AWS, which is Amazon Web Services data center. Let me remind you that over 4 years of full-scale war, no Ukrainian bank has ever stopped serving clients due to hostilities. Today, Ukrainian banks generally have one of the most reliable and heavily redundant IT infrastructures in the world. P.S. Looks like these guys keep all their client data just in the cloud. Yeah, so apparently a lot of banks having issues. An Iranian drone strike struck a data center connected to Amazon Web Services. This was being reported, I believe, yesterday. And it affected a lot of these different banks. These banks just going down inside of the UAE. So 4 different banks reporting that they're not operating at all or experiencing very serious disruption. So Very bad news here coming out from the UAE also being heavily impacted in this strike. You would think that these banks would have better infrastructure to prepare for these types of events and not rely solely on a cloud based service like AWS. But it looks like they do if AWS was knocked out there in that area. And we do report sometimes, Amazon Web Services is very susceptible to like cyber attacks and stuff. They're constantly going down. It affects a lot of different programs out there. We've talked about this before. Even we've been discussing the Ukraine war as well. Now, next, a new wave of strikes has hit Tehran. Bombing is reported across the city. North, south, east, and west seems they're hitting everything. One resident told CNN anonymously, fearing reprisals. According to the man, many of his friends and relatives are staying in Tehran for now, believing that wherever you go, something there will likely become a target. Earlier, Trump addressed Iranians and asked them not to protest for now because many bombs are falling. Now, here's another image coming out from Tehran. So yeah, guys, just it's crazy how much strikes we're seeing onto the capital of Tehran, and the U.S. military, along with Israel, is just absolutely hammering them. So many images and videos coming out today, constant strikes, and again, the U.S. administration did claim they'd be stepping up the ante here with these attacks onto Iran. Here's another one now. Insider paper, heavy bombardment in Sanandaj. Iran's military base targeted. So this is like another video that was coming out, similar to that other one that I had for you guys regarding this military base in Sanandaj. I think we had another report that we talked about earlier today during this live stream. But here's another image coming out from this clip. Again, I'm not sure who recorded this here, so I got to be careful with what I play here on YouTube. This could be a mainstream news source that was covering this attack also. But as we can see, massive amounts of smoke here and huge strikes onto another IRGC facility, reportedly a military base. So if you guys want to check this one out, here's another link in the chat as well. So sorry, a lot of these I just unfortunately can't play. If I don't know where the source came from, I've got to be very careful. Then here's another one. It's going to be the same thing. Breaking airstrikes just hit an Iranian army ammunition depot in Bajur. Huge explosions are rocking the area. So this one might have come from Iran International News. They've got their logo here on this video. So same thing. I will cite this in the chat for you guys if you want to check that one out. So many different videos. But as we can see here in this clip, lots of explosions here also. Lots of smoke being recorded, as in Bajur, Iran. We have another site being attacked. So massive attacks onto Iran are continuing. It says huge explosions rocking the area there. Here's another one. Open source intel. In the past 40 minutes, Israel and the U.S. reportedly struck around 30 Iranian police stations. So, yeah, we talked about this earlier, that a lot of police stations are coming under attack inside of Iran, most likely to prevent these protests from being quelled. As we know, protests are starting to pick up in Iran again, but as of right now, I'm sure not as many people are going to be out on the streets due to these constant attacks. But maybe shortly after, once we start to see these bombings calm down a little bit, that's when people might get back out on the streets and ready to retake their country and overthrow their government. As it looks like right now, one of the major goals is going to be regime change inside of Iran. Then finally, from Channel 12 News, IDF reports we have so far rendered more than 300 missile launchers of the Iranian regime inoperable. So yeah, I mentioned that earlier, 300 missile launchers, that's what the IDF stated. So I believe that's just them alone. Who knows what the number would be with the U.S. military as well. I mean, with all these huge strikes down there, this number could be maybe even close to 1,000. Who knows? But I really wonder how many missile launchers the Iranian or the IRGC really has to their disposal to be able to launch attacks onto some of these Gulf nations, targeting these U.S. military bases and also Israel. So pretty huge updates here today, guys. I want to thank you very much for being here. So much happening. Let me check out what else we have going on here in the last hour or so. I'm sure by now there's a lot of updates here. So let me see what else we got before we start to get out here. We're coming up on just about almost 2 hours on the live stream. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Appreciate you being here today, and I hope you're all having a good one. Let me see what we got here for you. Let me pull up some other news that's coming out in the last hour or two. All right. Okay, so I'm seeing some reports here that shipping rates are skyrocketing right now. liquefied natural gas shipping rates, that is. So take a look at this report from World of Statistics. LNG, that's liquefied natural gas shipping rates, soar 650% from $40,000 to $300,000 per day. Can you imagine that? That can't be sustainable over time. That's absolutely insane. I mean, this is probably why some of these nations are so concerned about it. Like South Korea right now, I'm sure they're very concerned with the stoppage of liquefied natural gas coming out of Qatar. That's going to be impacting them big time. So that's pretty insane that these shipping rates are soaring that much right now. And I think we had a liquefied natural gas tanker that actually was attacked as well. I think it was a Russian liquefied natural gas tanker in the Mediterranean Sea. That was just a couple days ago, and that one got hit. Supposedly could have been a Ukrainian naval drone, but it has not been confirmed yet. Let me see what else we got here. I'll take a look. Okay, so here's a story that I've got for you guys. So we talked about Cuba. I mentioned this yesterday that the U.S. could be going after Cuba next. I pulled this open for you guys. And here's a report from Nexta. It says Trump, Cuba will also fall. In an interview with Politico, U.S. President stated that Cuba is experiencing an economic crisis. Political changes on the island are likely in the near future. He noted that the U.S. administration has increased pressure on Cuba, including tightening sanctions and restrictions on energy resource supplies. The key factor has been the economic crisis exacerbated by the cessation of Venezuelan oil supplies, which caused fuel and energy problems. Trump said that this happened due to his intervention, which shut off all the oil and the money coming from Venezuela. He also emphasized that the hostile regime in Cuba will not last long. So let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think that the U.S. administration is going to go after Cuba next? That's something that was stated yesterday from a U.S. official that Cuba could possibly be next after they're done with Iran, or maybe, who knows, they might start doing it while they're going after Iran. I mean, we're seeing that down in Ecuador right now. The U.S. Southcom forces have been teaming up with the Ecuadorian military to go after cartels and drug lords over there. So that's apparently going on down in Ecuador. That was being reported yesterday. So I think it could be a possibility that we see Cuba being attacked next at some point. But it seems like right now, Trump is banking on the fact that their economy is going to go in the gutter due to just the recent operation onto Venezuela and cutting off the oil flows. We know that Cuba heavily relies on Venezuelan oil. Okay, so here's a new report now, too. Let's see if I can pull this open. This will be regarding Iran. Okay, this is on NBC News, actually. Okay, so take a look at this. Insider paper. Iran foreign minister says Iranian forces are ready to confront U.S. troops on the ground. We are waiting for them. Wow. So does that mean that the U.S. is waiting to go in on the ground? As I mentioned yesterday, we had reports that U.S. special forces could have been inserted onto the ground inside of Iraq, right on the border with Iran, to possibly open up some sort of ground incursion into Iran, or maybe carry out an operation. Who really knows? But yeah, apparently the Iranian foreign minister, this is just coming out today. Look at that, 9:32, just about an hour ago. He was on NBC News telling this reporter that they are waiting for them on the ground. So that is pretty wild. That means that the U.S. could be possibly thinking about that at this time, launching a ground incursion. Okay, so also apparently something else that he mentioned. This is going to be Abbas Araghchi right here, by the way. That's his name. He's the foreign minister from Iran. Okay, so apparently something else he mentioned during this interview. He said, "We have no intention of closing the Strait of Hormuz at this time, but we will consider every scenario as the war continues." So, yes, it still seems like there's no official announcement of the Strait of Hormuz being shut down, but he's claiming that apparently they could try to do that at some point, and as they consider every scenario, is what he said. Okay, and then as we're talking about the Strait of Hormuz, here's another report that came out Just in the last hour, also, this is from Megatron Ron. It says U.S. Energy Minister told Fox News that the oil tankers are refusing Trump's offer to escort them through the Strait of Hormuz. It says, quote, no ship has yet accepted the U.S. Navy's offer to escort through the Strait of Hormuz. So we heard about this yesterday that Trump was thinking about using the U.S. military or the Navy to actually start escorting ships through the Strait of Hormuz, that they would do whatever is necessary to keep the Strait of Hormuz open. And apparently, many of these oil tankers are refusing Trump's offer. They're not willing to even go through there, even with the escort. So it seems to me like maybe they're concerned about being attacked. And if they do, obviously it's going to skyrocket more prices here for insurance and things like that as well. So it seems like even though they're being insured with coverage and protection by the U.S. Navy, they still do not want to go through the Strait of Hormuz. And there's been a lot of reports of a lot of vessels that have just anchored off the coast of the Strait of Hormuz and they don't want to go through it. And they're actually waiting for potentially this war to maybe calm down or something. But the IRGC has warned they would start attacking ships. So that seems like why we're not having a whole lot of ships going through there. Okay, so apparently Lloyd's Market Association CEO, they're reporting that at least 40 transits of vessels have been made it through the Strait of Hormuz since March 1st. So in the last 4 days, only 40 vessels have made it through. That is really not that many at all. See what else I got for you guys here. Thanks again for being here. I hope you guys are having a good one today. Let's see. So I think the Iranians are telling America now that they do not want to negotiate with them. Although we heard reports earlier that they were willing to negotiate. They were actually calling for the U.S. to speak with them. Here's a report from Mario Naval. It says breaking: Iran just rejected negotiations with America entirely. 48 hours ago, they were signaling openness to de-escalate through Oman. Now it's apparently off the table. Al Jazeera reports. So it seems like the Iranians do not want to negotiate with the Americans at this time. That means that this war is going to continue. Let's see what else we got here. Seeing more strikes inside of Iran. We've got another missile base that came under attack. Just constant strikes. Like it's just every other post here is just about strikes inside of Iran. If anybody's still here too, if you wouldn't mind giving me a quick thumbs up, just make sure we are still live. I haven't seen anybody chat for a little while, so making sure we're still good. Yeah, just checking some more sources here. Okay, so here's an update regarding Ukraine. Let's talk about this for a second. More translated: Zelensky needs to get down to business and strike a deal. Putin is ready for negotiations to end the war, says Trump. He added that Vladimir Zelensky is becoming an obstacle to reaching agreements because he already had a few cards to play, and now he has even fewer. Apparently, that was a new statement from Trump. So it seems like obviously he still wants this war to come to an end. He's saying that Zelensky needs to get down to business. So once again, putting pressure onto Volodymyr Zelensky. And he's claiming once again that Putin is ready for negotiations. I mean, I have not seen that at all. I haven't seen Putin come out saying they're ready to end the war. I mean, he might say it lightly, but for the most part, their actions prove otherwise. They're not ready to end this war, especially with some of their demands that come out from their side. Hey, thanks, John and Jay Fitzgerald. Thanks for letting me know you guys are still here. I just like to make sure I don't want to be talking here for 30 minutes and let's say we lost connection or something I didn't even notice. Let's see. So yeah, I wonder if we're going to be seeing Trump coming out, putting more pressure onto Zelensky again soon. We haven't seen that in a little while, but apparently that could be the case. Okay, so apparently the Iranians are once again claiming that they attacked the USS Abraham Lincoln. This is like the second time they've claimed this. Look at this one here. Let me close some of these. And Clash reports Iran claims its IRGC Navy drones struck the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Abraham Lincoln near the Gulf of Oman as it approached the Straits of Hormuz. The carrier group reportedly withdrew and moved over 1,000 kilometers away. Iran provided no evidence for this claim. So yeah, they've stated at least two times now that they attacked the USS Abraham Lincoln. We have not been able to confirm that at all. U.S. Central Command has shot down those claims multiple times and stated that U.S. Abraham Lincoln has not been hit. I can't imagine that being the case, but Iran has been monitoring the USS Abraham Lincoln with drones, for several days before this operation began. There was even one time where the USS Abraham Lincoln actually shot down, using one of their fighter jets, they shot down a drone that was trying to monitor its position. So yeah, apparently the Iranians claiming they attacked it again and struck it, or at least attacked it and chased it away. Okay, so apparently the Iranian foreign minister, when he mentioned to America that they were not ready to negotiate, apparently he said that he refused any negotiations with the U.S. and he said that Iran had not asked for a ceasefire. So they don't want a ceasefire at all. They don't want to negotiate with the U.S. That was according to NBC News. Okay. Fox said earlier that the U.S. will be asking Ukraine to help with drone technology. Who needs who? Yeah, we went over that report earlier. I'm not sure if you were here for that, Jay Fitzgerald, but yeah, it's very true. Yeah, the U.S. is asking for Ukraine, and I mentioned the whole who's got the cards kind of thing that Trump mentioned to Zelensky back, what was that, last year or something, or I think 2024, 2025. I believe it was last year when he said that, but. Um, yeah, I thought it was interesting that, all of a sudden, now that the U.S. needs help, now they're going to Ukraine and saying, hey, you need to help us out with your drone interceptors because they're having a problem dealing with these drones right now. And speaking of that, here's a statement from Zelensky regarding the drone interceptors. I just found a statement from him. He posted this just an hour ago, roughly, on X. He says, we received a request from the United States for specific support in protection against shaheeds in the Middle East region. I gave instructions to provide the necessary means and ensure the presence of Ukrainian specialists who can guarantee the required security. Ukraine helps partners who help ensure our security and protect the lives of our people. Glory to Ukraine. So he's confirming that they're going to be helping out the U.S. with these drone interceptors. He did also make a statement that even though they're going to be helping out in the Middle East, they will ensure that they've got, the adequate amount of supplies for themselves too, because obviously they're fighting a war right now. Just as much as the U.S. needs those interceptors, they do as well. Let me see what else I got here, guys. I'm checking out some other sources, see if there's any other information coming out recently. I think we covered a good bulk of it already here during the live stream. So we got a few more minutes left. I'm going to see if I can find anything else, any other like breaking news. Okay, so Israel is still issuing lots of evacuation orders. They just issued one earlier in Beirut. It was like the southern side of Beirut in Lebanon. Now they're issuing this one inside of Iran. So it's from Assad Commentary. Evacuation warning issued in Iran. IDF has issued an urgent evacuation warning for residents in the industrial zone of Abbas Abad near Sharifabad. east of Tehran, marked in the red on the attached map. The warning states the area contains infrastructure used by the Iranian regime, and civilians have urged to leave immediately for their safety. Israel says military activity is expected in the area. So it looks like they're going to be launching more bombing campaigns here, the eastern or east of Iran in Sharifabad, okay, or near Sharifabad is what's being reported here. So it looks like those strikes are coming very soon. Let's see. We'll take a look, see if we got anything else here. We had Benjamin Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel. He came out and made a statement saying this is historic cooperation between the U.S. military and the Israel Defense Forces. Between our Air Force and the U.S. Air Force, we continue to strike targets of the terrorist regime in Iran, as well as terrorist elements in Lebanon. The achievements are great, but there is still much work ahead. So, kind of coming out and commenting on this whole operation, saying they're still going to continue their attacks over there. Oh, interesting. Okay, so I believe this ties into a story that I heard about earlier, and we have not covered this yet. There was reports that there was another Iranian ship that was coming through, I think, the Indian Ocean off the coast of Sri Lanka. And what happened yesterday when one of these ships were going near Sri Lanka is the U.S. military or the Navy utilizing a submarine fired a torpedo and actually struck a Iranian frigate and basically sunk it. And there was like hundreds of people on board, IRGC Navy members, and a lot of them were reported missing, dead. I think more than like a dozen of them. I can't remember how many, somewhere around 30 or so. I want to say a lot of them were missing or reportedly killed. Some of them were being rescued. So look at this report. Ozen Technical, Iranian naval vessel IRINS Bashir 422 has chosen to intern itself at a neutral port and will remain docked at Sri Lanka's Trincomalee harbor until the end of the war. So this ship is so afraid to return back to Iran, they've decided to dock at one of Sri Lanka's ports or their harbors to prevent it from being attacked. Because most likely, if it heads back towards Iran, the U.S. will probably sink that thing as well. So that's pretty crazy. They're too afraid to return back to the battle zone over there. Okay, I'm seeing some other video here coming out. One second, guys. I'm seeing some pretty wild airstrikes inside of Iran. Yeah, talking about the Damavand base. So this could be another missile base, I believe, that just came under attack, or IRGC base. Not sure if I can show this here on the screen, though. Let me see if I can. I'll try and pull this up. I'll give you guys a link for it if you want to check it out yourselves. This is just being reported in the last like hour or two, actually. So 1 second here. Let me pull this up. Okay, so right here, Eric Doherty, just in. Iranian regime's ballistic missile and air defense underground Damavand base has just been struck hard. U.S. and Israel carrying out jaw-dropping takedowns of the Islamic regime every single hour. This Department of War plays no games. So yeah, there's a video here, but let me give you guys the link if you want to check it out yourself. There you go. That's for you guys. But here's a little snapshot from the video if you're not able to watch it. But there's the link in the chat if you want to check it out yourselves. About 14 seconds. But a huge airstrike here on this mountainside. We typically see a lot of these mountains inside of Iran being attacked. This is actually where a lot of their bases are located, is on mountainsides here. So yeah, the Damavand base apparently coming under attack. This was just reported here in the last couple hours. Oh, wow. Okay, here's another statement coming out from An Iranian official, apparently, this is going to be Israel's Channel 12 News reporting this. Look at this. Senior Iranian official to Al Jazeera. We are not seeking a way to exit the war. We will block all the enemy's ways out of it. Wow. That's a pretty insane post right there. So apparently, yeah, an Iranian official telling that to Al Jazeera. That's going to be a mainstream news outlet in the Middle East, saying they basically will not allow the U.S. military to back out from the war. It seems like they want to try to, draw the U.S. in and keep them in it, even if they try to back out. And just kind of knowing how Trump is, Trump doesn't really seem like the type to want to keep the fighting up for, let's say 6 months or a year, or have this turn into another Afghanistan. And they've mentioned many times, multiple officials out of the Trump administration, that this will not be a long engagement. The most we've really heard from them is 4 to 5 weeks. But then again, there's more reports coming out. This could last all the way till the autumn. I mean, this is wild, guys. Imagine this lasting for 6 months or longer. Just checking some more sources, see if we got anything else. Got a few more minutes here, and we're probably going to hop off stream. Thanks again for your patience, guys. All right, still lots of explosions ongoing. Looks like it's nighttime now over in Iran. Also, apparently a statement coming from Trump regarding interceptor drones from Ukraine. This is what Trump stated. Trump asked about an offer of help from Ukraine's Zelensky to defend against Iran's drones, and Trump reportedly said, "I'll take any assistance from any country." So it looks like he didn't really want to give credit directly to Ukraine. He kind of just said, "I'll just take assistance." That's interesting. That was his response to Ukraine, helping them out with interceptor drones to help take down these drones that are probably the biggest threats over the ballistic missiles. I think, considering that Iran has so many of them, it's going to be a pretty big problem for the American military and Israel. Okay, also, travel warnings being issued now. Apparently, the National Security Council issued a severe travel warning for the UAE, Bahrain, and Jordan. They say growing concern for harm to Israeli targets in these countries. So that's interesting. I mean, we've been seeing strikes on many of these nations like UAE and Bahrain already. Jordan has been attacked a few times by drones, I believe. Maybe some missiles being fired. Nothing like what we're seeing with some of the Gulf nations. But apparently, yeah, we've got travel warnings being issued for some of those nations now. Let's see if we got anything else here. Wow, here's some pretty big destruction inside of Tehran from a U.S. Airstrike or Israeli airstrike. Here's a new photo coming out at World Source News. The 5th intelligence base in Tehran was completely destroyed in a U.S. Israeli strike. Look at that. Completely destroyed this building right here. So the 5th intelligence base used by the IRGC, that was just coming out here in the last few hours. All right, just checking some more sources, see if we got anything else. Here's apparently another statement from Trump. This guy cracks me up sometimes. Some of his statements are very interesting. Here's another statement apparently from Trump speaking about Iran to Politico. Clash Report says they have no Navy, they have no Air Force, they have no detection of air. It's all wiped out. Their radar is all wiped out. Their military is decimated. all they have is guts. Okay, I probably shouldn't laugh about that, but I just think it's interesting some of his statements that he makes here. He claims that all they have is guts. That there's basically everything is destroyed. So that's pretty wild. Okay, I'm hearing some reports also right now that 120 plus fighter jets operating over Iran right now, largest aerial wave since the beginning of the conflict, and they're striking IRGC and besieged targets in multiple cities, including Tehran, Kermanshah, and Shiraz. So that's apparently ongoing right now. 120 plus fighter jets operating over Iran. All right, by the way, if you guys are just tuning in, thanks so much for being here. And if you would kindly don't forget to hit the like button on the video and or the live stream. And also, if you're enjoying my content, guys, please feel free to subscribe to the channel as well. I'm going to be trying to do more of these lives more often. We'll see how they work out, but so far they're working pretty good. I'm also on Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee too. So if you guys check out the links below in the description of the live stream, you'll find links down there if you guys want to join as a patron or anything like that. Completely optional, but it's there if you guys want to support. Okay, so here's a statement. I've got a statement apparently, I think this is from Trump. Yeah, this is regarding Trump from Axios today. And he's commenting on Khamenei's son taking over power inside of Iran. So let's take a look at this real quick. Hey, thanks for the support, Jay Fitzarelli. So Ozen Defender, in an 8-minute interview with Axios on Thursday, President Donald J. Trump acknowledged that Mojtaba Khamenei, that's Khamenei's son, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the former supreme leader that was taken out recently, Iranian politician and son of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is the most likely successor and next supreme leader of Iran, which he stated is unacceptable and that he needs to be personally involved in selecting Iran's next leader, just as he was in Venezuela. They're wasting their time. Khamenei's son is a lightweight. I have to be involved in the appointment, like with Delcy Rodriguez in Venezuela, Trump said. Added that he refuses to accept a new Iranian leader who would continue the policies of Khamenei. Khamenei's son is unacceptable to me. We want someone that will bring harmony and peace to Iran. So it looks like the U.S. will not be happy if he ends up becoming a supreme leader over there. Again, there's been reports that the IRGC is apparently pushing for some of the Iranian officials that are left, like their parliament members, to hold a vote and have him take over as a supreme leader. Apparently some of them are protesting, not willing to be involved in that because they're probably afraid of being bombed, as we had a building struck yesterday or the day before inside of Iran that was housing a lot of their members of their government that were trying to hold a vote to have the next supreme leader come into power, and Israel bombed it. So looks like they're having problems getting somebody appointed as supreme leader, but apparently Trump wants to be involved in that process. And he did state a few days ago that he told the press that we would find out exactly who would be running Iran. We don't know who that's going to be. And it's interesting that Trump wants to take over that process, similar to what happened in Venezuela while they're at war with them. Okay, see if I find anything else here. Oh wow, I've got new video footage of that KA-50 or KA-27, excuse me, that was shot down near Ukraine. This is a Russian helicopter. So let me pull this up. This was just coming out. One moment, guys. Don't know if I'm to be able to get the video to play. It's not wanting to play. Okay, I think I got it. There we go. Cool. All right, so military news UA says the moment Ukrainian Navy kamikaze drones shot down a Russian ship-based anti-submarine Ka-27 helicopter over the Black Sea. New video of this right here. So apparently these were drones. These were attack drones that took down this helicopter. Here's the new video footage of this thing incoming, striking this Ka-27 naval helicopter used by the Russian Navy. Wow, that is wild. Looks like it was sitting on a deck here of an oil platform out in the Black Sea as it came under attack. Wow, that is crazy. So we talked about this earlier. I reported this to you guys, about an hour ago, that we had that report coming out from Ukraine that they struck and destroyed that Ka-27. There's your confirmation there. All right, still hearing more reports that over 120 fighter jets are currently in the skies of Iran. I mean, that really sounds like they've got air superiority over Iran right now, if they're having that many fighter jets flying over. All right. Let's see. I'm taking a look at some more sources here, see if I find anything else for you guys. Okay, so Israel's UN envoy, ambassador to the United Nations. This was a statement coming out from him today. Give us a few more days and it will be much harder for Iran to disrupt vessels passing through the Strait of Hormuz. So I would assume that means they're going to strike more of their naval assets on the coast there next to the Strait of Hormuz. That's probably why we saw Bandar Abbas coming under attack this morning and last night, actually. They're trying to destroy their missile capabilities, knocking out their anti-ship ballistic missiles or missiles that be fired to strike these ships that are trying to go through the Strait of Hormuz. So that's probably why we're seeing a lot of attacks onto naval sites on the coast there of southern Iran. They're still trying to destroy their capabilities to knock out vessels that are trying to go through the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, and we're starting to see now. Let me double check. I'm seeing reports that gas prices or oil prices are surging to $80 a barrel. Let me see what Market Watch is saying. Oh, wow, it's up almost 9%. Holy cow, yeah, that is true. I'm seeing $80.94 a barrel for crude oil. So take a look at this report here. That is insane, guys. I mean, the U.S. is trying to do what they can to mitigate this as oil prices are continuing to rise. But look at that right there. I did confirm this. I checked myself on my phone and with Market Watch, they're saying $80.94 a barrel. So it says here from Quebeci Letter, breaking U.S. oil prices officially surge above $80 a barrel for the first time in 13 months, now up 45% since December. U.S. gas prices are set to rise above $3.30 a gallon. I think right now is a very good time to go and fill up your gas tanks. Because anything could happen here. Is gas prices going to rise all the way to $100 a barrel? I mean, there's been some reports it can go up even to $150 or $200 a barrel. I think that's pretty extreme. But if the Strait of Hormuz were to be completely shut down, which it kind of is right now, at least that's kind of how it's being reported, we could definitely see gas prices rising a lot higher. So that's definitely not good to see. I think definitely a good time. Go fill up your gas tanks now before these prices continue rising. You're only going to pay more for it tomorrow than you will today. Not good news there. Okay, looks like tonight also the U.S. military may have been striking the Partian nuclear site or nuclear facility inside of Iran, or it says military complex. So I know that uh, they do have some nuclear sites located in this area too. So I'm not sure if this video is showing strikes on a military complex. That's what it states here. But again, there is nuclear sites located in this city as well. But this is video coming out from that area showing some massive hits over here. Look at that major bombardment there onto allegedly a military site in Parshin. And there was reports that there was an attack also onto the Parshin nuclear site. I think it was just the other day. So that could be what we're seeing being attacked there, or it could be a military site. So pretty crazy bombardments there. That was just coming out here in the last hour or two. Bank of America came out with a statement saying an oil spike price is a risk to the U.S. economy. Yeah, think about that. I mean, the inflation issue inside the United States is not under control. Um, so the fact that inflation is not under control, and they're also like pretty much cutting rates right now, that's only going to increase inflation. And then with the oil prices going up, that's going to cause more inflation with products that are sold in America as well, because everything is transported by truck. So Bank of America apparently releasing that statement today saying that this price spike for oil is a risk to the U.S. economy. Let me see. I'm checking some other updates here, see if we got anything else. Crazy how much information there is. There's so much. Let's see. Again, thanks so much for being here, guys. Appreciate all your patience and hanging out with me here today. It's been a lot of fun. Okay, I'm not seeing much else at the moment. Okay, here's a statement coming out for the chief of staff. I don't know if this is going to be coming from America, could possibly be, or maybe it's from Israel. Chief of staff in a statement, moving to the next phase in the campaign. There will be additional surprising moves. That's apparently coming out from Channel 12 News today. That's out of Israel. Apparently, there's some more plans that are being put together in the background between the U.S. and Israel right now. They might be carrying out some new attacks or some new plans, surprising moves. So I wonder if that has anything to do with a ground operation. We've been hearing a lot about that, but have not had confirmation of any ground operation in Iran as of yet. Okay, so once again, mainstream news reporting that Gulf nations are running low on air defense interceptors again. This has been reported a lot recently. Let's close some of these here now. It says here, Max 25, Gulf Arab states are running dangerously low on missile interceptors to stop Iranian drones and missiles and have asked the U.S. to speed up resupply. So many Gulf nations still concerned about their stocks of interceptors to take out drones and missiles. Apparently, they are running low right now. That was being reported, I think, yesterday, possibly the day before, but for sure within the last 24 hours, mainstream news has been talking about that. Still ongoing at this time. All right, still checking for more updates here, guys. Just bear with me for a moment. Wow, check this one out here. So apparently, France trying to evacuate people out of the Middle East, evacuate their citizens from certain nations, and they're having trouble doing that. Naval, a French evacuation flight, turned back midair because missiles were flying through its path. France is trying to bring its citizens home and can't even get the plane there. The skies over the Gulf are too dangerous for civilian aircraft evacuating civilians from a war zone. I mean, that's expected, right? But clearly, France having some issues getting people out of there due to the constant attacks. So that's crazy. A missile flew right through its path, a French evacuation flight. Oh, wow. So here's a statement coming out from Russia. We were talking about Russia and their support for the Iranians. Here's a statement from the Kremlin today. UK report just in. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov says the war between US, Israel, and Iran in the Middle East is not our war. So they don't want to be involved at all. And Sergei Lavrov came out earlier today, their foreign minister. He stated that basically they would do whatever they can to prevent this war from continuing. I'm not sure what the Russians can possibly do. They already said they wouldn't put sanctions onto the US or anything, which I don't think that would do a whole lot anyway if they were to apply sanctions onto the US, but apparently they're not willing to do that either. Sergei Lavrov said that yesterday they would not even think about putting sanctions onto the US. I'm sure it'd probably hurt them more than actually, do any damage to the US economy or anything. Oh, interesting. Okay, so here's a video coming out from Lebanon now. Let's see if I can get this pulled up. One second, guys. Yeah, this is coming out from Lebanon. Look at this. Open source intel. Lebanese forces say they have confiscated a Hezbollah rocket launcher in the Tafah area of southern Lebanon. Here's video footage coming out showing somebody driving by, and it looks like the Lebanese military confiscated a Hezbollah rocket launcher. So, as we know, Israel's been carrying out strikes inside of Beirut recently, their capital of Lebanon. This is due to Hezbollah reportedly firing rockets and drones at northern Israel recently. Now, it hasn't been anything extreme like we've seen in the past, but maybe a few, 6 or dozen, something like that. It hasn't been a insane number, but reportedly Hezbollah is firing at Israel over the last couple days. Israel's been carrying out strikes over there inside of Lebanon, and also reportedly carrying out a ground invasion, at least a small incursion into the southern side of Lebanon. That was reported yesterday. So apparently that is more show here that the Lebanese government does not want Hezbollah inside of their territory, and they actually confiscated that launcher there. So very interesting. Looks like Lebanon has had it with Hezbollah and Iran. They're basically turning their backs. Okay, we got probably a couple more minutes. Let me see if I can find last couple things here before we head out. Still hearing some reports that the Kurds could get involved in the fighting, but it's not 100% yet. Apparently, that's still being worked out with the U.S. So, no official ground incursion by the Kurdish forces yet inside of Iran, but that was talked about yesterday. Oh, I've got a report here that Kuwait is suspending oil refining operations. Let me see if that is true. Due to the Strait of Hormuz shutting down. That's interesting. Okay, so yeah, there's a report coming out on X, but I don't see anything on mainstream news yet about this. Reporting that Kuwait is actually shutting down their oil operations due to the Strait of Hormuz being blockaded right now for the most part. So that's an interesting development. But so far, I'm not seeing anything like that on mainstream news yet, and nobody's covering that. So take that with a grain of salt. Okay, and we're actually seeing today, let me double check here. Yeah, it looks like the stock market in America is heading for its worst day in months. Right now, what's being reported in the last hour is that the Dow is down 1,100 points, and that could obviously change. You know, we've seen big swings in the stock market. It says right here, Quebeci letter, Dow Jones Industrial Average falls nearly 1,100 points on the day as oil U.S. prices surge above $80 a barrel. Yeah, so not looking good, guys. I mean, it seems like even though the stock market at times it seems like it ignores what's happening in the Middle East. It looks like these shutdowns of the Straits of Hormuz is impacting the stock market because obviously oil prices are rising, so that's not good for stocks or the U.S. economy. That means more inflation is going to be coming. So let's see what the U.S. decides to do about that. I think that's probably one of the biggest threats right now, aside from these drones and missile attacks from Iran. Keeping the Strait of Hormuz open is probably going to be one of the biggest challenges for the U.S. military in Israel. So hopefully they can keep it open. If not, we're going to continue to see oil prices rising, and they've been steadily rising over the last few days. I think yesterday it was at like $74 a barrel. Now today it's going above 80. That's probably also why we had reports earlier that China is ordering the largest oil refineries to suspend exports of diesel and gasoline. Okay, they're preparing for a major shutdown here, is what it looks like. Okay, so I'm not seeing a whole lot else here at the moment. Trump is stating that they will keep the Strait of Hormuz open. So we'll see about that. They've been stating that it is open, but as of now, it seems like there's a lot of times where there's many ships that are not going through there. So we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if we get some more further updates. But yeah, not looking good for the U.S. stock market today. It's getting hit hard due to the closure, or at least partial closure, of the Straits of Hormuz and highly affecting gas prices and oil prices. Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing a whole lot else, guys. So, yeah, I think we'll go ahead and close it up here. That'll be pretty much the end of the stream. So, yeah, guys, I want to thank you very much for being here today. We were here for what, about 2.5 hours? I think a little bit longer than yesterday. So I should be back again tomorrow, like probably around the same time, about 9 a.m. or so, maybe a little bit before that. 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We usually be here about maybe 2 hours at a time or so. Yeah, guys, thanks so much for being here. If you're here, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying my coverage here. We'll try to be live once a day if we can from 9 to 11. As far as video content putting out, it might be on hold for the moment just because of what's going on over here in the Middle East. I think this kind of stuff requires a live to be done because there's just so much information. I can't cram everything into a video. So I think lives are a little bit more effective for right now. So we'll see how that goes. But thanks so much for being here, guys, and we'll see you all in the next one tomorrow. Hope you guys all have a great day. Everybody take care out there and be safe. We'll see you later. Take care.